Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Big Wireless has once again raised their prices. In response, we're bringing back our deflation promotion. The marketing department asked me to be as explicit as possible when explaining it. So here we go. Because we don't love f***ing our customers over like Big Wireless. We're bringing back our offer for f***ing unlimited premium wireless for only $15 a month. F*** me to the moon and back. That's a great f***ing deal. Explicit enough marketing?
Yo, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we are here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on into our 15th season as we get set for that being said. I'm excited about being here. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. And I've always wanted to say that. Anyway. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Hope everybody has a wonderful night and a wonderful day as far as that is concerned. It's always something, as far as the holidays and things of that sort to be happy about. And Mother's Day is one of those. And I've got a couple of things that I can't wait until Cuervo gets in. I got to talk about and things of that sort. Really waiting for that. But I want to start off because we don't have Trey Mack, and he's normally here. He's probably sleeping. He hasn't been feeling good. I don't know if he will be in. He said he will be. But I want to start with kind of a sad story. Okay. And it's not like anybody got hurt or but I want to talk a little bit about where this show has been. Okay. This show was mainly created because I got sick of listening to golf shows on Saturday morning. Every time I drove around, they were talking golf. And no offense, golf is not a sport, it is a recreation. Now, we'll talk about golf every once in a while if the big news is there. Obviously, the Tiger Woods situation and what has happened to him over the years and that kind of thing. But what mainly when you talk golf, it's horrible, and that's why that's literally one of the reasons why I started this show. Figured hell, I can do better than fricking golf, and so here we are, 15 years later. And we've started out and done a lot of things. And one of the things that we did do, and it was so much fun. We did indoor football with the Texas Revolution, the Allen Wranglers, when Terrell Owens was trying to make a splash in that to try to show people he could still play and all that BS. But I will tell you, since I have stepped away from actually working in a league, that being Champions Indoor Football, that is no longer around, we are seeing an implosion of indoor football. It is pathetic with what we are seeing. And what I'm talking about is if you take a look at some of these other, oh, how do you want to say it? Other leagues, I guess. I was part of Champions Indoor Football. Now, at that time when I was part of it, Champions Indoor Football had the capability of becoming the best and the biggest indoor football league in the country. Some bad moves, some bad things happened within that. Obviously, beyond my control, I wasn't the commissioner. And I'm just gonna just come out and say it. We, as far as indoor football was concerned, there were some big, massive egos in Champions Indoor Football, which in turn put where everybody is right now as champions took like 3 teams went over to the NAL, bullied their way, and yeah, I just said it, bullied their way into that league, and the Omaha Beef, yeah, that and Ricky Burtz set up their commissioner so they can get their agenda taken care of. So the NAL, I wouldn't say is thriving. I would say that I don't even know if I want to say it's on its last legs, but it's not stable. As the Oklahoma Flying Aces are now no longer. They are dormant, and I doubt they'll come back. Oklahoma's got some very serious workman's comp prices, and when it comes to sports, they are completely out of whack when it comes to trying to keep costs down for professional sport. Oklahoma don't help. That having been said, of course, that's the name of this show. Oklahoma is, and the Flying Aces are no more. But the big story last year in the offseason was the reemergence of the AFL. And the reemergence of the AFL is nothing like you've seen in the AFL even on the second time it was done, never mind the first time. The first time they were set up and they protected players, they were business, and you looked at the Arizona Rattlers, the Iowa Barnstormers, all those teams that were part of that. That's where you got Kurt Warner, by the way, the Iowa Barnstormers in an arena league, and you end up getting, a Hall of Fame quarterback. That having been said, this new version of the AFL, and if you're involved with indoor football, reminds me of almost a worse scenario than the AIF, which is the American Indoor Football League. It's horrible. And basically, to be part of this league, you just had to give them money. You had to give them maybe a good portion and then say, hey, we're a professional football team. No vetting, no nothing has went through. And that's the reason why you're taking a look at what the AFL is today. It is a disgrace. It's pathetic. Teams are going out of business. No workman's comp, no insurance to cover players. And it's pathetic. And the fact of the matter is until someone gets in there, as far as the AFL is concerned, and really just says, this team needs to go, this team needs to go. These are the stable teams because there's like 6 stable out of the 16, and then work for the rest of the season and then put in parameters that are very, very hard to measure up to. In other words, professional football. Some teams can do it, some are not. You have to have a budget if you're going to be quote unquote the AFL. You have to have $500,000 to $750,000 to run this thing correctly and do it right, and also find stadiums and pay your players and pay everybody in part of it. This is not if you show up, we'll let you coach. No, it's professional. They deserve to get paid. And the AFL is falling apart, crumbling right now, all in front of us. And I will tell you, it needs a serious overhaul. And that overhaul goes to simple fact of the matter. get rid of the commissioner, get rid of the people that are already involved with it because they obviously dropped the ball, and get a new set of people in there that will make the AFL something to be proud of more than a freaking embarrassment that we're seeing. And I will tell you right now, just to give everybody fair warning, Ricky Burtz and the NAL is positioning themselves to take the somewhat good teams and make the NAL something to go up against the IFL. But the problem is that there's still money issues as far as the NAL compared to the IFL. The IFL is the closest to the AFL that you could possibly get to, more so than anything. So they're going to try to go head to head with Ricky Burtz and I'll just say it, the big mouth breather himself, Richard Davis. And those that are in this business know exactly who this guy is. And by the way, he hasn't changed. He is the same guy that he has always been. And he is probably one of the demises that will happen if the NAL goes down under. The NAL needs to distance themselves away from Richard Davis. Richard Davis is that guy that will be the cancer to your league. But no, that's not what's going to happen because of Ricky Burtz and his, self-proclaimed commissioner that he set to help his team and go by what he wants, along with Richard Davis. And I got it on a very good authority, that's the way that they wanted to run the CIF. And the CIF said, well, that's not the way we're going to want to run this. And they got voted out. That's the reason why they're over in the NAL. That is the reason why they took some stupid, ignorant idea bringing two more teams to the league that are really not up to snuff in the NAL. They're just hanging on by the seat of their pants too, just to gain what they have, which is the corner market on the NAL. Now, the travel and everything, that might kill them. All right, so this is what I wanted to say last week. We kind of got off on some other things, but indoor football right now, the IFL is just the cream of the crop. You know how the cream just rises to the top. That's what they're doing. And they're doing it and doing it right. Although I'm not a big fan of the commissioner himself, that being Todd Chiron. I think he's just a tool. But say whatever you want about that, the league is stable. And if the NAL decides that they're going to become stable, this would be really interesting to see maybe the finalization of a put together of what everybody has been wanting for the last 10 to 15 years, which is to emerge into one good indoor football league. That being said, that depends if the NAL will get what they want. Believe me, the NAL doesn't need the IFL, and the IFL does not need the NAL unless they do want to have that full dominant indoor football nationwide league. And they need the NAL, and they need to get rid of the NAL name and all that other stuff. And then outside of that, you'll have all these really crappy indoor football leagues where teams fold after 3 or 4 weeks, and that's where we end up. So if you can get rid of the mouth breathers, you can maybe bring together a nationwide indoor football league, and we'll see what ends up happening. That being said, of course, that's the name of the show. Got him in the green room, and we might as well just bring him on in. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, I decided to change it up so he can see something that he can maybe grin at. It is the one and only Pathfather. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
What's going on, buddy?
I'm feeling pretty good. I had to get that off my chest, but so
I could tell you're all animated in motion and getting all the arms going and holy shit.
Can't help it. I think there's a little Jewish in me that's kind of does. I don't know, but hey, I'm as tight as a Jew, so maybe I don't know. That at least
way to knock down all the Jewish people. Way to go there, sir.
Good morning. Hey, man, you look good. Hey, you actually look really good. How you feeling? You look like you're feeling pretty good.
I put it. Last week was a thing. I mean,
you looked like last week.
Yeah, I had to call off. I had to call off work for 3 days. I was going to work overtime both Friday and Saturday for the concerts we had at Windstar. But because I missed those 3 days. Those 2 days extra I worked were just to help make up hours.
There you go.
Which kind of sucked, but it is what it is. But I got to see Stevie Nicks live in person. She is
Mhm.
tiny,
Who'd you see?
Stevie Nicks.
Ah,
And
Stevie Nicks.
she is 75 years old and she is tiny.
And tiny and can still belt it out.
She had a sold out show. Then yesterday we had Brooks and Dunn there. I get to see them, but I heard Brooks was there outside meeting everybody, but the other
Mhm.
one wasn't so much. But yeah, it was a fun filled weekend there at my place of employment. But like I said, I've been just so sick, and I mean I've had no voice. It's the first time I've actually had a voice to talk
You
because
actually look good. You got color to your face, man, which
I
is
just woke up. I just woke up.
so yeah, so
Well, I have a big green screen behind me right now, so you can see it's off to the
maybe
side.
that's it. Maybe maybe that's just making you look sick. I don't know. Who
I got
knows?
another green screen coming here pretty soon, so it's gonna be a lot cooler.
Well, the kind of what you got going on is kind of what I am thinking about doing because I think I figured out what I want to do as far as that's concerned. But as of now, I'm just going to stick to the background until I decide that I'm going to actually do it. So, but by the way, are you ready?
Sure.
I mean, are you ready?
You're not Triple H, sir. Just go ahead and say it.
Next week you will get it. You'll be ready. The bet will begin to pay off next week. It's all set and ready to go. It was actually going to be this week, but the stuff that I ordered was on back order, and I'm not going to get it until the 16th. So,
Okay.
I was going to do it and get it all set. I was actually kind of
Mhm.
really looking forward to it, and then of
Mhm.
course,
I'm
but
sure
but
you
it'll
are.
be next week. We'll start it off. I'm excited about it. We'll get the. I found the stuff that I was looking for without it.
Yeah.
Taking me to the bank because some of this stuff is really expensive. So,
All right.
but yeah, Amazon. I ordered it on Thursday, hoping I'd get it Friday, and then they back ordered it to the 16th. So we'll have it on the 16th. But
Cool.
so we'll have that, and we'll see what it. Oh my God, this is gonna be horrible. Anyway, so I thought I'd let you know about that.
You lost. You have to pay up now.
Yeah, hey, I told you I'd pay it off. So, and also, just to give you an idea, I've reached out to my trophy maker, and we're
Okay.
going to start getting to work on that. So you'll end up getting that as well. So be
I hope
ready
so.
for that to happen. So that being said, I wanted to get your opinion since you now maybe have had the opportunity to see fast. Was it Fast Lane? Is that what it was? Um,
Backlash.
Backlash, yeah, Backlash. Wanted to see what you thought about Backlash and what they are doing now, because I think, well, I'll find out what you say and then I'll roll with it. What was your take on Backlash, and then the couple shows if you've had the opportunity to see after Backlash?
You know, well, first of all, I was looking at the Dave Meltzer rating system for this show.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, I know,
okay.
right?
All right. Explain why
Hey,
people. Explain to
well,
people why
well,
we're kind of giggling about that. Go
well,
ahead.
because he's ridiculous. But I mean, it's that in a nutshell. But unless the match takes place over in Japan, it's not going to be a 6 or 7 star mark unless it's someone that he really likes. That's the thing.
Hmm.
He plays but I was surprised to see that AJ Styles got his first ever 5 star match from Dave Meltzer against Cody Rhodes.
But that
Again,
was his first 5-star match.
according to Dave Meltzer, yeah.
Wow,
No, no,
interesting.
no,
Then
no,
that'll
no,
tell you how
no.
much he really knows.
But this also tells you this though. Kurt Angle's never had a 5 star match.
Never.
Never. So you can see the bullshit a mile away.
Whose ass is he kissing, by the way, in order
New
to not?
Japan. New Japan. That's what he did. But
Got it.
no, no, this was his rankings for the actual show. Tag match: Soul Cold and Tonga versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, 4 3/4 star.
Wow.
Bailey defeated Naomi and Tiffany Stratton to retain for 4.5 stars.
Really? Hold on. Is this out of a 5-star thing?
Yes.
Okay, that was a bad rating. That needed to be lower.
Unless the match is superseded a 4 or 5 star.
All of them?
Well, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Oh,
okay. Damian Priest versus Jey Uso, 3.5 stars. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defeated Asuka and Kairi Sane, 3 stars. And then, of course, the 5-star match with Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles.
Wow.
Again, they only had 5 matches, and they got all that. And if it wasn't for France, that show, I mean, France, the audience made that show what it was.
Absolutely.
And that's why they're going out of country to do these big PLEs, because you draw an interest, and now you got people like London sitting there going, "Can you only do a WrestleMania for 2 days here?" I mean, we did Wembley Stadium, which was cool, but that's AEW. If they can do that with AEW, imagine what they can do with WWE.
10 times, maybe 15 times better than what they were capable of doing.
Yeah.
They'd actually fill the damn stadium.
Right. So, I mean, although according to Meltzer, only half people will show up. But I don't know.
That guy's such a tool. Anyway, anyway, that being said, Jade Cargill needs to go back to NXT.
Well, she's not. She's not good because she's got one half the tag team titles.
I know that won't happen. But they can.
Listen,
that woman needs some more training. She's horrible.
Time out.
Okay.
Shut up. No, look.
Tell me shut up on my own show. I love you. I love the balls of you. That's why I like you. All right. So there you go. Go ahead.
No, but look, here's the thing. She's where she needs to be. Her match. She's not going to give you a 5-star match on her own. Okay. She's paired with the right person, Bianca Belair. She's doing on the job training. There's nothing that NXT can teach her that's not she can't use on WWE right now. She's gonna do all this firsthand because of the name brand, because she came from AEW. So they took her and made her a star there. How? I have no idea, but they did it, and they did it okay. But now WWE has her. Now, instead of just storing her in NXT and letting her spin her wheels, why not put her on the main roster and let her sink or swim? They're protecting the hell out of her right now.
Oh, God,
they really are, and they have to. That's fine because we all know this. And giving her a good spot at WrestleMania, giving her a shot over in France, giving her these opportunities that's going to help her thrive, as opposed to spinning her wheels, that's where she needs to be. And giving her people like Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, people like that who can really work with her and get her up to speed. It might take a while, but here's the thing: it's like this. You look at Austin Theory and Waller, right?
Okay.
They're the current tag team champions
over on SmackDown.
They're not going to make the titles what the title should be. The title's going to make them. And that's where Jade Cargill is going to thrive right now, is that the title's going to help make her. And I think, people can look at that differently and go, well, she's just not ready. But they're also the same people who've never done this before, too. So, I'm always like, look, give her a shot. She's in the right hands.
Is Bianca Belair the guy, the person to bring her to
not a guy, but okay,
fruition?
Yeah, I think she's in the right hands with the right people, and giving her in that mode of, I'm around Becky Lynch, I'm around Charlotte Flair, I'm around Bianca Belair, I'm around people who I have been compared to, so I can either sink or swim. And if she sinks, she sinks. But they've lost nothing in the process of bringing her there. Again, remember, you sign these people up to big ass contracts, but they go down to NXT. They don't get paid. I mean, they're on the clock, but they don't get paid those contracts. All that's different until you get moved to the main roster.
Right.
So why not get your money's worth out of her now and see where she's at? And then in 2 years or 3 years or whatever the deal is, if she's kind of, okay.
Can she change contracts from the NXT contract to the Raw contract?
NXT contracts don't pay a whole lot.
Oh, I know that. But it's enough for them to maintain somewhat of a small lifestyle, like, they can pay their rent, pay their bills, and then still come and do it. I have full respect for what they do over at the NXT, instead of just sending them over there like it's OVW and they got to figure out how they're going to live on nothing.
But also, you have to look at it this way. She's around people that she knows. She knows CM Punk from AEW. And CM Punk is now getting on the roster a lot more because he's getting healed and everything else to go. So he can help school her a little bit. She's around the right people. And I think it's just a matter of time until she'll be able to shine on her own. She can't do it on her own right now. That's the bottom line. She has to have a tag team.
Fully agree.
And Bianca Belair is the right person for her because I know my guys on my show have doubted me on this. I think it's a perfect time for, we'll let them have the tag belts for a little bit, and then when she's ready, have Bianca turn on her. Have Bianca have that heel turn that she needs to have. And then let Jade Cargill work with her, but also let her call the matches and everything else. That'll really help her out.
Wouldn't it be better to turn Jade?
No, because when you are a heel, you call the matches. Bianca Belair has been doing this for a long time. She's been a heel for a long time. She needs to have that turn.
Man, that's going to be a tough turn.
It would be because I don't see them. I think I see them doing the John Cena thing with her for a little bit and letting her stay on top of it as does the babyface. But you turn her heel for just a good 3 or 4 months, just to help get Jade over on her own. That might do wonders for Jade because once again, this is a team effort. This is not an individual thing anymore. This is a team effort with that they're all coming together doing this under a different era. If it was a Vince McMahon era, whole different ball game.
Absolutely.
You can swim without any direction at all.
Yep.
And
I read someplace that we wouldn't have even got that AJ Styles match if Vince McMahon was part of that. Why is that, by the way? I only just seen the headline on it.
Because Vince McMahon lives in a bubble, and he thinks if you are a homegrown WWE superstar, only those are the matches that we're going to see.
Gotcha.
AJ Styles' career outside of WWE, Vince had to be caught to speed on that. He may have heard the name AJ Styles. He may have seen a few things, like a 15-minute, presentation of who this guy is. All right, pal, we'll get him on here.
Oh, he had him first. I mean,
well,
back in the day.
First, as in he hasn't quite been established yet.
Well, yeah, exactly. They have him right with you. But kind of NXT kind of style, if you think about it, when early on in his career.
Well, I don't think he was even fortunate in wrestling at the time. I think he was just pretty much, hey, look, here's a young kid who, he was kind of doing the Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy thing at the earlier time, but WCW came in and they got him towards the very end,
right?
And then all of a sudden, he was off for the race with TNA. So, look, the guy's had a hell of a career, definitely a Hall of Fame worthy career. I think the fact that now the better eyes are looking at him than Vince, and because again, Vince didn't see the money value of Undertaker and Sting. How do you miss out on that?
I think there's more to that story as far as that's concerned. I know Vince is about money. Let's I'm not a fool to think that, but I think there's something more to that story that we're not hearing, which is fine. I mean, that's just the way some of the times we're not going to be privy to some of the information that's going to be coming out of the WWE, whether it's from Vince McMahon or anybody else who has, the knowledge of what's going
according to Sting, he was going to have his title match against Seth Rollins, which he had. He got hurt, and that's what ruined everything.
It did.
But that match alone was going to help set up him and Undertaker for the next year. But because he got hurt, things kind of went awry, and then all of a sudden, he's out the door. Look, it sucks that his WWE career consisted of 2 losses. Okay, that really fucking sucks. But at the same time, it's that whole thing of Vince McMahon looking at him going, "God damn it, pal, you're not my star."
Gotcha. Could you imagine if Triple H had the power that he has today when Sting was brought in, how much of a different story?
I'm willing to bet you that if you were winding the clock back 10 years and put Triple H in charge back then, and so what we had a chance to bring in Sting, that's fantastic. Well, I'm definitely not going to do a WCW versus WWE feud because that thing was 20 years ago. You know, you'd find a better play because that whole storyline with Sting coming in and saying you were the enemy. You never mentioned TNA, by the way, the entire time. It was
Oh,
always
I know.
I mean, it was always like you were part of WCW, you were part of that crew that
Well,
was
that's
trying to
because
kill
of
us.
him
Yeah,
buying
the
them
Vince
out.
thing. And I don't think, I mean, but yeah, you already brought in Eric Bischoff, the guy who willingly says, in 83 weeks, I destroyed WWE. So, you brought in, all your buddies, your Kevin Nash, your Scott Halls, your Hulk Hogan's guys who are part of that entire thing. You bring in the flagship guy, and all of a sudden you focus it all on that guy. I'm going, no. Find a better storyline.
I agree. Yeah.
But
It didn't work. Now, you mentioned TNA. I want to talk about that for a moment because right now what we're getting is, and I have to admit, I turned the channel to watch Matt Hardy and the Broken. Now, I think there was a miss out. Someone needed to pay for that as far as WWE. And the reason I say that is because I think the WWE could have taken Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, and made it a lot better than what TNA could have done. Okay. And that's just because of what is going on as far as technology and everything else that they use over in the WWE that they just don't use in the TNA. However, I did go back and I did watch, and I Matt Hardy is back into TNA, broken Matt Hardy. It's a great storyline, and I thoroughly enjoy that. And then my second is version 1 or version 4, whatever he called it. I liked him in those eras as best. Didn't even necessarily like him as a tag team with his brother. Of course, that's why he got his claim to fame. Let's not joke. I get it. But I think Matt Hardy. I think the WWE missed out on paying TNA for those rights, and they could have made that and could have made Jeff Hardy a bigger star.
Well, first of all, is doing the Woken Matt Hardy was a change that
Right.
pairing him with Bray Wyatt I thought was pretty genius at the time.
You're exactly.
I mean, because you already had a mystical character in Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're putting a guy who in Matt Hardy and this character that you're now familiar with a guy like Bray Wyatt. It worked wonders, but it's kind of forgettable because, unfortunately, because of Bray's passing, you forget about something that he did.
You read right into where I was going with that because I would love to see a Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt. That's exactly where I was headed with that.
But
because I think they both would have worked the style of a Matt Hardy, the style of a Bray Wyatt. That would put together a great match. I would.
But you also had this, these mysterious illnesses of Bray Wyatt that kept the process rolling.
Right.
I think. The thing is that the thing about the TNA broken Matt Hardy is that all that was under Matt's direction.
Right.
All that was under his creation.
Correct.
You go to WWE, you got to deal with writers, you got to deal with these bookers, you got to deal with events, you got to deal with all these. It's like you have a great idea and you take it to about 20 different people and they change it all up for their own liking.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you get a suspect version of what you put out there.
Fully get it.
That's why Broken Matt Hardy or whatever he was called then couldn't thrive in WWE because too many hands in that jar.
I agree.
TNA, look, think about this. TNA is how old now?
Well, they just kind of kicked at the turn of the century, didn't they?
They're damn near 20 years old. They survived bankruptcies. They survived
Dixie Carter
networks.
Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, all those.
Yeah, but you know what though? I won't even fault Hulk Hogan because when Hogan came to TNA, he could barely walk.
Right.
He was going through so many demons at the time with the ex-wife and taking pills upon pills upon pills to deal with all. He had 10 or 20 back surgeries at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Eric Bischoff was kind of brought in there under Hulk Hogan's So see, the one thing people don't know about Eric Bischoff is that when he was brought in to TNA, he wasn't there to run TNA.
No.
He was there to only serve as Hulk Hogan's, as his power of attorney.
Yes.
And, he was the character everybody knew. So, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind the Hogan Bischoff thing. You squeeze all the stuff out of that juice that you possibly do, right?
Right.
But you had very little to do. Now, because of that, it grew Bubba Ray. It grew Devon. It gave them a separate identity than the Dudley Brothers, or the Dudley.
And Aces and Eights.
Yeah, Aces and Eights, and look at AJ Styles. He thrived from it too, bringing in Flair to help push AJ to the next level. So they did a lot of good things. The problem was nobody was watching because remember at that time when they came in, guess what happened? That very same night Hulk Hogan debuted in TNA, Bret Hart came back to WWE.
Gotcha.
And again, what the hell kind of magic did you put together to put Bret Hart back on WWE programming?
Exactly.
And to have him and Shawn Michaels hug it out. I mean, who would have thought we'd have ever seen that? And remember one thing though, people were more.
Well, hold on. Before you go further, Bret Hart's still bashing that, by the way. Because I've been watching.
Bret Hart's bashing comes to this: Vince screwed me. I hate Goldberg. Eric Bischoff's an asshole. Those are the three things he likes to bash. Okay?
Pretty much, yeah. That's around about that.
That's him. Whatever. He's a broken record. But look, I mean. And again, he's ruined his legacy in my eyes.
I fully agree. And I loved Bret Hart.
I remember you and I were sitting at Sword Championship Wrestling one day before the show, and we're sitting there with Bobby, and we're talking about Bret Hart. And I said to him, I think Bret's ruined his legacy. And Bobby looked at me, who's working with Bret? And he's like, how do you figure? I'm like, how are you not watching? I mean, he bashes everybody. He doesn't do the business any good, I mean, people hold him to
respect the business, by the way.
He doesn't respect the key players in the business.
I agree. Fully agree.
And that now, if there's one thing that he does respect, he respects CM Punk because Punk shows him the same kind of love. Again, it's a give and take thing with Bret. And Bret's only as good as he thinks he is. I mean, you go back and watch a Bret Hart match, you can probably find a top 5 match of his that he's ever had, but they're all the same. Him and Owen. Him and Shawn Michaels, him and Owen again. It's always kind of him and Davey.
Those are great matches.
Him and Austin, but you know what? They're great matches because his opponents made him look great.
Oh, there's no question. And plus, he was as great as he was too. But he needed the right person on the other side to make him look as good as that. That would be Owen. That would be Shawn Michaels. He needed those guys that. Listen, I in his heyday, he was above everybody. The only thing that guy was missing was really, in reality, was charisma. I mean, no one even took Bret Hart seriously as a charisma guy, but they did go, and that's how he got the nickname. Because I'm telling you right now, there wasn't too many people better at the fundamentals of the ring than Bret Hart ever was. But the problem is, if you don't have the full package, you get demoted down. That's a Vince McMahon thing too, as well. And that's the reason why you saw what happened over in Montreal.
Well, I mean, if you can't talk him into the building, you got to rely on the other people to do that for you. And you're the main event. That's a problem.
Yeah. Well, you got to be able to fill the seats for the main event, and no one was buying it. Let's be honest. I mean, and people love Bret Hart, but a Bret Hart WrestleMania match may put some asses in seats, but like you said, if it wasn't for the person that he's wrestling, that's what it's more of who he's wrestling that put the asses in the seat than it was Bret Hart when he was holding the title.
Hey, I was there at the first ever WrestleMania he main evented. WrestleMania
was that 9?
Yeah, it was him and the Yokozuna. How'd the match finish? Hulk Hogan came out and won the belt.
Absolutely.
That sold the deal for the live crowd.
That, by the way, that was the start of some BS in Bret Hart's eyes and the whole thing. Because I
but you know what I mean? When Hogan tells him backstage, brother, you're not in my league. Is he wrong?
No, he's
No, I mean,
oh, yeah,
I
he's not in the league as far as popularity and what asses in seats. But I'm gonna tell you right now, Bret Hart is 100% better wrestler as far as
better
the
wrestler,
technique,
yes.
yes. But
Better
as far as
character,
better
no.
entertainer, no, absolutely,
No, and the thing is, you're buying entertaining dollars at this point, right?
absolutely,
I
and that's
mean,
all WrestleMania is. Let's be honest.
yeah. I mean, and then the magical year that Brett went on that entire year of 93 to 94 to get back to the belt.
Yep,
I mean, they said, look, we still got plans for you. You may not main event everything because we're kind of shifting our eyes to Lex Luger for the time being.
that's true.
We're seeing what's going to go on with that, but you'll have matches with Brett. You'll have matches with Owen. You'll have matches with the pirate guy. You'll have matches with the yeah.
Well,
I
let's
mean,
also to your credit on what you said about the other people when he was with the Hart Foundation. If Jim Danville Neidhart was not the character he was, that would have never gone over. It would have never lasted as long as it did, and that was purely on the shoulders of Jim Neidhart making it and continuing it on.
you know what though?
He was the charisma for both of them. Than both of them
Well,
having
you know
charisma.
what? If Bret Hart made one person, I'll give him credit for this. He made his brother Owen
Oh yeah,
because Owen without Bret would just have been Owen Hart, but now he's Owen Hart.
right.
You know, because of his brother Bret. So I give him
Hell,
total
even
credit
Owen
on
Hart
that.
was better as far as charisma is concerned when it comes to
Yeah.
those two.
The only problem with Owen is that he botched a lot of moves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he actually hurt people.
Yes,
But that happens.
that happens. That's wrestling.
But unfortunately, it happened a lot with him. Look, it's an era that I do love though because I like because I did love that era even though nobody was watching. I was watching.
Oh yeah, I
I
was
always
too.
I always felt like I was part of the secret society that was watching WWE programming when you couldn't even talk about it back in the day.
Yes.
But because at the time you have this groundswell of Razor Ramon's coming up, so's Diesel, so's all the other guys that are trying to make this thing the next era, the next thing. And then of course those guys up and leave and go to WCW, and all of a sudden, well, what we got now? We got Shawn Michaels. Well, who else? Get the Undertaker. What else?
Well, and think about this team. They grabbed up all the superstars as well. Kurt Angle, Big Papa, all those other guys during that era as well.
But they grabbed him at a time when Kurt Angle, his health wasn't being trusted by WWE. But Kurt wanted to go.
Oh, wait. Kurt Angle's best work was in TNA.
Yeah, but remember at that time he had a whole lot of concussions at the time because he's coming off the big match with him and Brock.
Yeah.
And they were like, Vince is like, look, you're kind of a liability right now. You're taking 1,000 pills a day and you're doing all these different things. We don't want that on our conscience because we've already lost Eddie Guerrero, we've already lost Chris Benoit, we've lost all these other guys who had on their own little situation going about. So I don't want to see you go out there and get hurt. So I mean, I get Vince's understanding of never wanting to put Brett or never want to put Kurt Angle out there. Now, here's the thing: did we miss out on certain matches? Sure, we always do.
Sure.
We missed out on Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle. Would have been great, I mean, there are certain things. I mean, but sometimes a guy needs to go away, learn a different hold, go to a different audience, figure out, do I still have it? What else can I add to this? Can I prolong this even further than I need to? Matt Hardy is a great example of that.
Oh yeah,
because he was spinning as well as being the brother of Jeff. But once he goes to TNA and all of a sudden Jeff's now the underling of Matt Hardy, who would have thought? Because Jeff Hardy is a former WWE champion or former WWE champion or world champion, I can't remember.
He was world champion.
Yeah. So I mean, he got a ring endorsement for the Undertaker. So, Matt Hardy never got that, but now he goes to TNA. He develops himself, and you know what? I'm sorry, but as great as TNA can be to help stars like that, they don't have WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. And Bound for Glory doesn't do anything for anybody.
Right. And AEW can talk all they want to about Tony Khan. Tony Khan just shut the fuck up, by the way. But I mean, they talk about all these great dream matches that everybody wants to see and this and that, and that's all well and good. Guess what you don't have? You don't have WrestleMania. You don't
You're
have
right.
SummerSlam coming up in Cleveland here pretty soon. You don't
Exactly.
have the
By the way,
marquee name.
Cleveland?
Yeah,
Jesus.
why not?
Cleveland.
Why
I
not?
mean, when I think summer, I think Cleveland.
They've done it before there, though. You know,
No, I know.
if you remember, Shawn Michaels and Vader took place in Cleveland, I
I
believe.
don't care. I'm thinking, but when I think summer, I don't think Cleveland. I think Miami. I think LA. I think, I
Yeah.
think of summer places where you would want to freaking go.
Well,
Hey, you can only hold it in
what's
those places so many times.
interesting
I
is
get it. But
that
Cleveland?
they had a deal with Nashville a long time ago. And I think
Oh,
this
I
had,
remember that.
yeah, this has something to do with I guess one of the summer times they did. They worked out a deal with the city of Nashville saying, look, we're going to bring WrestleMania to Nashville. But because Nashville's an outdoor stadium,
Right.
and I think they're getting away from the cold weather cities or states around that time to get them out of those kind of cities and move them into either indoor big ass football fields, or do them on the coast, like you said. You know, I think they're trying to find their way to make it work or just get out of it.
I heard that they're trying to get Tennessee after they build build the new stadium, that they might try to roll a WrestleMania over to Tennessee. So that'd be interesting enough. Interesting enough, Las Vegas, pulling up a WrestleMania. You couldn't get me from 100 miles from that place. I'm telling you right now, and there's nobody that loves Vegas more than me. You couldn't get me to walk in that town at all, except maybe if they got some of those crazy people down up on Fremont, maybe I would go. I wouldn't go see WrestleMania. I'd go to Fremont to see what kind of craziness that would happen. So I'm still kind of thinking about doing that. And I got a little relationship with Binion. So,
well, it is my birthday weekend, April 19th and 20th.
Hey, if you can find a $35 flight out there, man, you'll be all set.
You know what? I gotta be honest with you. I've hit the certain part of my life now to where being around big crowds don't do it for me anymore.
Oh, I fully agree. That's why I love indoor football.
But I mean, this is why I like my spot is at Source Energy Wrestling. I know we're going to draw 500 people, but it's enough to where I can manage.
Mm-hmm.
When I work the concerts over at my place of business, I don't work the concerts. I work the load-in. So I get you there from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. and then the show don't start till late. So I'm already home by then.
Yes, correct.
So and I have a buddy of mine I work with. He's like, "Hey, did you stay for the concert last time?" I'm like, "No." Why not? I want to get home. I went home. I went to bed. I mean, I was exhausted. I've been sitting in one spot for the last 10 hours. I want to go home and go to sleep. But so what killed me last night was I got home around 8, went to bed, woke up around 11:30. My watch damn near died on me, so I couldn't tell what time it really was until I looked at my phone. Then I was up for like 4 hours, and then I went back to bed, and I barely made this show.
Yeah. So. But anyway, hey, but I will say this, just more in the fact, it's too bad the aces and eights happened on TNA. Now, granted, it helped TNA, but I just see so much better of if that was over in the WWE as well. I think they could have done a better storyline. They did the best they could with what they had based upon who was on the roster.
But remember,
yeah.
you take a great idea and run it by 2 or 3 people. That's great. You take a great idea and run it by 50 people.
Well, exactly.
How much that will change?
But then at the same time, who was the one that was writing that at the same time? And interestingly enough, I did, it was a coronation between just a few, not like you said, the 50. And I think that's the reason why I was able to like it, love it, and to this day think it was the most underrated, kind of storyline in wrestling, because of the fact that it was over in TNA instead of someplace that could have maybe backed it. But is that what's going on right now in the WWE now, is where they're taking it out of so many hands now and then trying to put it to what it is? Because I'm going to be honest, based upon what I saw in the draft and who they drafted and everything else.
That's ridiculous, by the way.
But I fully agree. However, I get how the selling point works, but more in the fact that the big superstars are not necessarily really there anymore, and it's almost like they're giving it to the new wave of new guys
Mhm.
going in with a hint of a Miz, with a hint of some of the older places, that could still do what they do, but they're almost handing it directly into the young guys. That Damian Priest is an example of that.
All right. Well, he's a champion too, so.
Well,
But
exactly.
here's the thing, though. This is what I would do with the WWE draft. Okay, make it a one night thing. One night thing. Make it put on Raw. You got 3 hours. You can kill 3 hours with that. All you draft, each show drafts from the NXT roster. That's it. I don't want to see if you want to trade someone from show A to show B. That's fine. I don't want that being a part of a draft. That's stupid. Okay, take the NXT guys and say, okay, 10 of y'all are going to have a different home. And that's doing these Raw or SmackDown, and they have to stay on those brands. They can't cross pollinate and go, hey, look, so and so came from NXT. He's going to be on Raw, but this week's going to be on SmackDown. You can't do that. No. You have to have them be out part of the flagship of that one show because they have to grow their existence from there.
Of course.
And
I get what you're saying on that.
And and then you can work out trades. You can do certain things match wise that can work out trades. Hey, if so and so loses, they'll be on SmackDown now, or so and so wins. This is their ticket to go into Raw. But you have to do it within the storylines. The draft is bullshit. They only did the draft because the NFL's doing the draft. Okay, so I would use that to because you grow your NXT guys that way. Now you have more interest if people want to watch NXT because wow, we got to see these guys. Got to see
who's the next guy.
Yeah, the next guy. You can do it kind of like college football. You're watching college football to see the next guy who's going to go to the pros.
I get it.
Okay, you can do the same thing for wrestling as well. And so I think that's where they dropped the ball in this whole draft thing because there's too many hands in the bucket right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, I love the idea of having Eric Bischoff running Raw and Paul Heyman running SmackDown. I love that because in a way you had under the Vince McMahon conglomerate, you had the WCW president and the ECW owner running things on your shows. How fucking great did that sound? I mean, that's a major win.
You think so?
Well,
but interestingly enough, when you say that, though, I take that back to football, and I'll tell you the reason why. I take that because I think to myself, if I'm thinking of it, someone definitely is thinking of it. I mean, I'm not getting paid to come up with friggin' ideas or moves as far as that is concerned. Don't you think they've thought about that? I mean, or you think they're, don't you think that the mouthpieces of the WWE now couldn't put that together and figure out how to make that work?
It all comes down to creative, though. Okay, you have these two well-spoken individuals on these separate shows, but what are you going to do with it?
Well, I will tell you the difference between Eric Bischoff and the WCW and the WWE is exactly what you said. Too many people writing for Eric Bischoff.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I tell you right now, when I watched the WWE version of Eric Bischoff after WCW, it was unwatchable because because that wasn't Eric Bischoff. That was Vince's creation of Eric Bischoff. So you definitely have to give those guys, Paul Heyman and them free reign to be who they can be.
Right.
But the problem is right now we're talking 30 years later, Eric Bischoff, and it's, unfortunately 30 years does a lot to whoever it is, whether
he's 68 now
or
so
him. Exactly. He's not that same guy that by the way, Eric Bischoff, NWO, loved him, but he's not that guy anymore.
You know what is funny? His podcast made me understand and appreciate all that he had to go through at WCW because listen to all the obstacles he had to go through at that time because it wasn't his company. but
Right.
he was the face of it because he was the guy in charge. So to hear his take, and I remember when one of the first episodes they had was Bret Hart comes to WCW, right?
Yes.
And Conrad was reading everything out of the Bret Hitman Hart book.
Yes.
And Bishop's like, who wrote this book? Was it Bret or was it a ghostwriter? Because none of this shit happened.
Yes.
So
Well, I heard that story from Bischoff as well, as far as who broke who and what and who Brett was after he came from the WWE back or over to WCW and how supposedly broken he was. Which, by the way, I think he was. By the way, I think
well, think of it this way. What would Bret Hart be like if he just surrendered the title at Survivor Series? Did away with the whole Canadian hero nonsense and just says, look, I'm going to another company because this company cannot afford me anymore. I'll surrender the title to Sean, even though he's an asshole. I'll do what's best for business, and we'll go from there. Well, what would Bret Hart be like if Owen Hart didn't fall to his death? What would Bret now? Don't get me wrong, Bret Hitman Hart outside of all this is still an asshole to his wife and to everybody else. So this doesn't change who he was.
correct.
But you take those two major milestones away from him because both of them hurt him in a different type of way.
I get what you're saying.
So so the thing is, if Bret would have done business the correct way, I'm leaving. I have the championship. I have to surrender it. This is what the owner of the company has asked me to do with the belt that he put around me. I didn't win it. He put this around me because he thought I was the number one guy to carry his business. But now I have to leave. I have to get rid of this thing. Now, he could have dropped the belt to Stone Cold a couple nights before that. He could have dropped it to whoever else. But this is a big event in Canada. Him and Sean. I don't want to do business because I think it should be out. I should just go to the ring on Monday and surrender it. No. You're a son of a former wrestling promoter who's been a part of this entire situation before. When people are outgoing, they drop the belt. They leave on their back. That's how this works. You choose not to do business. Now, do I fault Vince for Brett string Brett? No, you know what? Vince was going to do what Vince had to do to protect his business. I understand that at the
I
time.
think it was great.
Yeah. And
I thought it was ingenious after you learned about all the stories. Thought it was ingenious how he did it. Which by the way was straight out of what wrestling is. Just a shot to you're like, holy shit, did this just happen? Kind of thing, which is what wrestling really should be. But it was really a holy shit moment in reality, which more so than a written holy shit moment.
It was a shock moment in a country that wasn't ready for that.
I agree.
And you know what? Hey, Vince came and took Stu Hart's company out from underneath him.
Yep.
Okay, in Canada.
In Canada,
he used to run live TV shows monthly at the Maple Leaf Garden because of his association with Jack Tunney and then Tunney Brothers.
Yeah.
So he had done business with Canada before. This is the first time when Canada didn't want to do business with him. That was Brett. So Vince and his infinite wisdom did what he had to do. Look, this doesn't excuse the fact that Vince McMahon's an asshole today and the fact that he looks like Walt Disney on steroids. Okay? Clearly, he's got a lot of issues. But Bret Hart having every reason to fault everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Put everybody on the blame game.
Well, he makes money by the blame game. He makes his money by the blame game.
Yeah, and I mean, and if you're going to interview Bret Hart,
pretty pathetic if you think about it.
If you're going to interview Bret Hart, you're going to get the same song and dance. Well, I still have a career if Goldberg didn't kick me in the head. Okay, I'm sorry, accidents happen. Okay, you know what? Hey, never mind the fact that your brother Owen spiked Steve Austin into the mat at SummerSlam '97. Never mind that.
No,
I mean it happened. We see the footage. So accidents happen. It's professional. It's a contact sport. Is it predetermined? Sure. Can injuries happen? Yes. I mean, nobody walks out of the wrestling industry 100%.
Oh God,
Nobody.
no.
And even the guy you hate the most, Hulk Hogan, he's dealing with back surgeries, and he's dealing with all these other issues he's got from he's had to have 2 new hips because his finishing move was a leg drop. The guy with big ass arms dropping a leg on somebody. I mean, clearly this was not thought out very well by him or other people who were putting this shit together.
Exactly.
But look, we all hurt. We all hurt. Dude, I still hurt today. I have no C4 and no C5 in my neck from wrestling. I have back issues like a motherfucker right now because of going through tables and falling off ladders and stuff like that from 20 years ago. That is now catching up to me. I'm not even 50 yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to hear how he kicked me in the head. My career's over. I don't like him anymore. Oh, he probably liked him to begin with. But you know what? Bill Goldberg sold tickets.
Yes.
You didn't.
Even as green as he was. Now, let's be honest. If he wasn't as green as he was at the time that happened, that probably wouldn't happen to the severity that it did. But it still wouldn't mean that it wouldn't have happened in reality. It might have been done something different. But at the same time, this is the wrestling business, like you said. I mean, look at Roddy Piper, for God's sake. You want to talk about a MASH unit? Jesus Christ, that guy was under the knife. Seemed like every other month because of wrestling. So it's you just got to take it with a grain of salt. And I do. I am at a point where when I listen to people who don't know as much as we do, even though I wasn't in it as deep, I was in it enough to understand in reality, even before I really went in, but I got a better respect for it going in and seeing it. These are the most amazing athletes that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about gladiator style, athletes, that's what these are, depending on who it is, and how and what they do, for the pure entertainment of an audience. It's just kind of nuts to me.
It's ones that take it. It's ones that if the fans take it seriously, that's what you want. When the competitor in the ring takes himself way too fucking seriously, like a Bret Hart, then you kind of backtrack and go, wait a minute. You do realize you're a carny. You do realize that you're putting on a show for people, that you have to go off to another city to the very same show with those people. So you can't sit there and tell me how devastatedly hurt you are about such and such thing when you put yourself out there night in, night out. And I'm sorry, you're not going to walk away 100%. I don't, and you want to sit there and tell me, Bret Hart will sit there and tell you, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I never hurt anybody. But yet then on the same breath, yeah, me and Sean, we had a match and I may have hit his eye a little bit too much that match. So you already said you don't try to hurt anybody, but now you're saying you actually gone on a limb to legitimately knock somebody out. Which one is it? Look, from my point of view, when I'm at ringside doing my thing, sometimes I don't know what I'm going to do. I have an idea, and I run it through the guy. Say, hey, when you get over here, I'm going to do this, this, and this too. It may not happen. But I will get something into the effect of where I did my part. But no way am I sitting there trying to hurt the individual. No. Because I understand that they're getting paid a lot less than I am in some cases to come in there and be a part. Because we're all parts of trying to put together a big thing for the people around us to enjoy. And that's what Bret Hart has kind of forgotten about. He's taking the selfish approach of, well, I'm just so great that I have to, I'm the best there is, and yada, yada, yada. And, he believes his own hype.
Oh, he does believe it. There is no question about it.
And it's just to the point where it has nauseam. And he could have been a hell of an ambassador for the sport.
Oh, I fully agree.
But he is too selfish of a human being to do that. And unfortunately, because of that, we're where we're at. Now, there are those like CM Punk who... CM Punk, he burned a lot of bridges before he came back. A lot of bridges. But now you notice that when you hear him come back, you never hear a peep from him about, oh my God, I can't believe it. Unless it's Drew McIntyre. That's the storyline.
Well, that's the story.
But you don't hear anybody saying, oh God, why is he here? This is a cancer in the locker room. We don't really need him here. Everybody is telling you right now to a man, dude, this guy's not the same person that left here 10 years ago.
Then the question is how long is it before he goes back to that?
I don't think he will, because
Let's be honest. I
I
mean, you want to talk about burning bridges, and you want to talk
right.
about a guy that went off on the deep end. I don't know if that was more in the fact that he didn't want to be there and he decided, screw it, I'll just say whatever I want, kind of thing. More so than what.
I think the thing is, because Triple H is involved now, CM Punk respects the boys. He didn't respect the office. He didn't respect Vince.
Well, that's because they weren't wrestlers. That's why.
Right, and I think because he sees how 10 years has changed. Because think about it, that locker room is all there because of CM Punk. I mean, he changed the atmosphere in that locker room back then for him to come back to it and go, this is what I thought wrestling was supposed to be. You know, because we're all working together, we're all under the same umbrella, but we're all not being torn apart because of our status in the company.
Right.
Vince is good about creating animosity between the higher classes and the lower classes of the guys.
Yeah.
And where was CM Punk at that time? He was an upper class guy who's treated like a lower class guy. So he's got a lot more name recognition 10 years now than he had back then. And I think the fact that people like Triple H and people, like even Bruce Prichard for a fact, is Bruce Prichard was very much in Vince's pocket for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think taking a look and go, you know what? He stepped away. He did his thing. He came back, and he's a different person. That's awesome. Now,
whether or not he can continue it is going to be the biggest question in reality.
right? I mean,
when he decides that, well, I don't like the direction on what's going to happen, how is he going to handle that more so than what he did in AEW? Because if you think about what AEW was at the time when he joined up, it was the workhorses of wrestling in reality that started it up. Let's be honest. Chris Jericho, Cody Rhodes. These are all guys that put in time.
You said Young Bucks, I'm gonna hit you.
No, hold on. I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks. I'm going to tell you the reason why. The Young Bucks rise to greatness wasn't a rise to greatness. It was just a title that was thrown on these guys, and now I wanted to see more. And you can't just get it in one night in Chicago. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's not how tag teams work. Tag teams actually do take time to work together in order to establish the greatness. And as much as I don't like the Hardy Boys in reality, the Jeff Hardy side of it, working them together, that takes time. And that's how you develop that.
I will say this, I see CM Punk's career being finished out working in NXT as a Shawn Michaels type person.
Yes.
Now, getting him to move from Chicago to Florida might be an issue, but because the guy's a hardcore Chicago guy. But to get him, I mean, I see him being the mentor of those kids coming up, because I think he can talk a lot more sense into those guys than an old timer like Shawn Michaels. I mean, Shawn Michaels doing a fantastic job at NXT for what he's got to work with. His problem he's going to run into is the fact that he's got to deal with TV time. And TV time is look at him and go, look, we're not drawing a move a crowd for TV audience. Is this where NXT really needs to be? Probably not. But I think it would do better on the streaming service than it would be on just on USA.
I think NXT is doing exactly what they need to do. They got a stadium of 400 people that come week in and week out.
They have an impact zone,
and then an impact zone, and then they go and follow up or prequel the big pay-per-views, which is what I think that they should do. And they are doing. And sometimes that show, which I've on many experiences outside of WrestleMania, outside of SummerSlam and the Big Four, Royal Rumble, and outside of those, sometimes they had a better show that weekend than the actual WWE main rosters. So and the only reason why I know that is because I'll watch them and I enjoy them, and and then you get to see the guys, and you go, oh, hopefully we'll see this guy on the main roster someday.
I'll say this, with WWE going overseas and doing things they're doing now and they got the Queen and King of the Queen of the Ring. It's going to take place in Saudi Arabia, but it's a moneymaker. It's already a bought
Yes,
show.
it's money.
So I mean, you can't argue that. The fact that they're going to highlight that thing with a main event of Cody Rhodes champion versus champion against Logan Paul, I think that's going to be really. I mean, again, you're taking two guys, your champion and your internet sensation, who was the major heel in that company, and putting them together over there, and let those two guys sell it out as best they're going to do. I like the tournaments thing. I wish they would put the tournament back on the one show and do the the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals in one show. I wish I would do that again because I like the war of attrition type thing. I like people kind of shit on it now, but I love WrestleMania 4. I love the original King of the Ring idea back in '93 when they would do the entire tournament on one show,
right?
And have the rounds broken up by Tag Team Championship and World Heavyweight Championship matches. So, but because they're doing all these things on Raw and SmackDown to draw an interest to the show, so when they go over there, you'll have your finals already set. It takes away from the tournament part, in my mind.
I get what you're saying,
but
that's a good way to move. But it's also a good way to have guys move from one brand to another, more so than just sticking them over there. I kind of if they work it that way, I get the tournaments. The tournaments bore me because you know who's going to win, based upon in reality
sometimes
who's actually riding the wave, of popularity. Right. You just know who's going to win it. They'll throw a bone every once in a while, depending on the injury situation of the person that's in there or what happens during a match. I get, but more so when you look at it, who's going to really win those, and as far as what's going on. So, but are you buying the Drew McIntyre injury right now, or is that a storyline thing?
I think he's actually hurt.
That's what makes it great.
I think
your pause is what I think makes it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's hurt. I think they're blowing it up to further the storyline a little bit because you still can't get a whole lot out of CM Punk right now. So the fact they're kind of chasing each other is kind of cool.
Right.
CM Punk taking the show hostage on Monday Night Raw was kind of funny.
I thought that was kind of. It
reminded me of Randy Savage when he took the Nitro hostage for like a few seconds.
He put the chair in. Yes, yeah. I remember that. Or the Daniel Bryan thing. I get why they did it in reality, because they're building him. They're building this back to SummerSlam, and they don't want any of them to get hurt before SummerSlam, so they can put the.
You know what the bad thing is? For it. You know what the bad thing is? WWE is on such a hot streak right now.
They don't need them.
Every news site is throwing clickbait out there left and right. Like those things go major stars leaving WWE, and you go to click on it, and you go, oh, an executive Mark Lewin is leaving. They're like, who the fuck is Mark Lewin?
Or Jerry Lawler, after 30 years.
Like a major superstar for 30 years is calling you. He did not re-sign his contract. Clearly, things are going bad. And you're going, my God, what's going on? Jerry Lawler is not. Okay, well, Jerry Lawler's barely been used. Now, he's still under a Legends contract.
Yes.
But he's no longer working on the pregame shows because he can barely fucking talk. So, what's your hiccup here? I love Jerry Lawler, but what's your hiccup on this? I hate the clickbait sites because they have nothing to really. There's nothing really outrageous that they can go to. Now, like one of them is like, Mercedes Moné is really, really tired of the AEW booking of her and she wants to go back to WWE. Well, that's on her for not going back. Okay. Now she wanted to go back because Vince was there. I get it, but he ain't been there for a while. She could have went back then. She chose not to. So the hell with it. Plus,
let's be honest. She took the money. Okay,
Yeah, sure. Fine.
she was getting more
Yeah,
money from AEW
that's
than
fine.
she ever would have got.
Well,
Never
you know
mind
what? You
how
know
many
what? Then,
dates that the
but
WWE would
you,
throw her.
but you know what though? They overpaid for her
I
because
listen. You're not
she
going to
ain't
get
that
an
great.
argument of it. Which, by the way, listen, I can take or leave, quote unquote, Sasha Banks. I can take or leave her because of how great Charlotte is, as Bailey is, as well as whenever Alexa Bliss gets back and go. There's more on
Liv
that
Morgan's got more
roster.
personality.
Yeah,
Liv Morgan's got
exactly.
more personality than Sasha Banks.
Let's be honest. I'm not impressed with AEW and a hot dentist being a woman's champion, even though she's not. But that's how they pinned it and started it. I wasn't impressed with that. The problem with AEW compared to it is the amount of money that the WWE is willing to spend, more so than what the AEW has to spend. There's a big difference because AEW, if they see something, they'll throw all the money at it, more so than AEW will stay in with what they got. And this is what we are going to spend, and then we'll make something of it. It's a big difference in philosophy on how you build a character and a superstar, more so than what AEW can do.
Also, WWE is getting a return on their investment.
Exactly.
AEW doesn't get any return at all because there's no storylines. It's just marquee matchups with dream matches they want, right? This was be awesome, and Tony Khan's mind. Let's put it together. But what's the storyline? Don't worry about that because we'll go next week and we'll figure it all out. Whereas WWE is now they're booking shit in advance. Okay, here's WrestleMania. Here's WrestleMania 41. Let's build backwards. How do we get from 40 to 41? Let's build backwards and work our way this way. And these are some twists and turns that might happen along the way. That's fine. AEW for me, I mean, look, I love it. It's a place for people to go to work at. Okay. I love the idea that it's a chance for TV time. I don't like the fact that it's an overgrown place for indie guys who are not ready for TV to go to. People who haven't learned how to do TV. That's
Will
why
Ospreay?
Yeah. I mean, Will Ospreay, for one thing, I'm upset with the fact that he wasn't so self-aware of the Daniel Bryan injury or Bryan Danielson injury.
But
Because
I heard that was kayfabe.
And who'd you hear that from? Kayfabe people?
I don't know. I just read it in a couple
Yeah.
places.
But all I know is that if you weren't very sure, and the referee did not do a good job of trying to let everybody know.
Now I heard of that.
Yeah,
I
so
read that.
I think I mean,
and
look,
I might agree with it if that was
yeah.
for real.
Well, look, but here's the thing: for him to come on TV and denounce what Triple H said about part-time guys wanting to work because they don't work a full schedule. A full schedule in WWE is not what it was 10 years ago.
Oh no. Now they it compared to what it back in the day, it was about 310 days a year they were working, and working is a very
Loose way to put it.
Yeah, working including travel, basically.
Well, but I mean, back
thing.
then, if you look back at the old history books of how they used to run shows, they used to run 2 or 3 shows a night, and one half of the audience would be on the West Coast, one half would be on the East Coast, and so you're furthering the brand. Right. And then in between that, you're also going and doing live TV shots and doing all these different, publicity things for the company. Now it's like, look, you work 4 days, take 3 days off. Kind of cool. There's still a lot of air travel going back and forth to home and this and that. But it's a more conducive area because the guy who runs the show has dealt with injuries. The guy who's running the show has dealt with concussions. The guy who runs the show deals with the grind that is the WWE. And he knows what it takes to be a superstar because look at him.
Yep.
But, I mean, people can argue, well, he married the boss's daughter. He was the hardest working guy in the room before that.
I fully agree. And talk about put a guy over. Triple H was probably one of the best to put the guy over.
Yeah, and for those who sit there and tell him, well, you just all you care about putting yourself over this time because of what you did to Sting. Dude, his WrestleMania record is nowhere near The Undertaker's. Okay?
No. And lost twice to The Undertaker.
Yeah. Three times.
3 times?
Yeah, because the one I
I
went
know
to
Shawn
WrestleMania.
Michaels lost to him twice,
Yeah,
and
the one WrestleMania 17 was the first time they fought each other. That's before the streak was really a big thing.
got
And
it.
then of course the
And
two
the
in a row
two.
they had. Yeah, so yeah, I mean there's for those who watch this show to talk about wrestling, which I'm sure all of y'all are just wanting to hear,
Hey, hey.
but
Sometimes, see, that's why I'm talking about the fork in the road. Sometimes we'll just say screw it. We're not going to get back on the other one.
no, but look, the thing is that I truly do believe that WWE entertainment wise, they're doing the right thing, and the fact that they're gonna do a couple big shows here in America, but their major money is overseas right now,
Absolutely.
and
Let's be honest, business is business. That's what the business has always been. It's about asses
Mhm.
in seat. But here's another aspect of it is now they become the third person in the ring, so to speak, or the extra because I'm telling you right now, when they went over to France, that crowd was rocking and rolling. You don't hear people sing somebody's song louder than the damn song. Okay, I'm
That was
sorry, you
awesome.
just don't.
That was awesome.
It was awesome, and I didn't watch it, so I didn't watch the SmackDown. This is what I normally do. I don't watch the SmackDown before the pay per view. I normally don't do that because I know what the situation, and I know who's going to win. There won't be any big turns, or twists before the
Mhm.
pay per view, so I don't even watch it. But I also heard that happened the night before on SmackDown with somebody else. I forgot who it was, but it was Randy Orton with the first match. Which, by the way, I'm just going to say it. There are certain things that I think the WWE needs to get away from. And one of them is you got to take the steel steps out of the whole production of what you're doing. It's just an accident that's waiting to happen anytime someone gets through that. If they're not aware, self-aware, body goes a little crazy, not the way it should be planned. You want to talk about you want to talk about NFL players having CTE. I mean, look at these wrestlers, and part of it
Mhm.
comes from the steel steps. I think they need to get away from it. I think it's bad for business. I think it's bad for anybody who has to go in it. Never mind take an accidental pile driver on it to make it look really cool, but that's an
Mhm.
accident waiting to happen that could be very much prevented if you're more creative and you don't have to do that.
But then you also have the idea that you have a big guy like uh, um, Bronson Reed. He tries to get into the ring, and he's not just going to roll underneath the bottom rope. You got to have something solid to get him to get in up the stairs.
I agree. No, I agree with the stairs being there. I'm a fan. I don't want them going into it. I don't want them to use it as a prop. I don't, there's other things that you could do. I think the steel steps are it's gonna and I'm going to tell you the reason why. Jamie Noble is one of my favorite wrestlers. Okay,
Mhm.
I mean, so underrated. The problem is he was 5 foot tall. I mean, so he's not going to get what he's going to get. But Sheamus just beat the holy hell out of him. Not only that, used the steel steps, and we haven't seen Jamie Noble since. So I guess he kind of took away one of my favorite wrestlers because of the steel steps. I know it was part of it. And I know it was written for it, but what a way for Jamie Noble to go out. Good, bad, or
But
indifferent. That guy had
but
5 more years at least in the ring
but
that Sheamus took away from him. It's just stupid. It makes
but
zero
look at it
sense
this way.
to me.
But look at it this way. Rey Mysterio's no different,
I fully agree.
and he's been able to prolong his career because again, a lot of those guys back in the day were being a lot more reckless than they were now. Because if you were reckless, it drew money. Like
Right.
ECW tried to draw money, and look, it's sad that happened to Jamie Noble, but at the same time, you know, is going through steel steps any different than going through a table? I
It
mean,
seems
I,
less
I mean,
reckless, I guess. I maybe
you're going through a table.
little thin wood compared to
Yeah,
steel.
but you
It's
but
just
you can still be stabbed with it. You can still have issues with the table. So
Yeah.
the danger aspect of it is very real from all parts of the ring. I mean, ramming someone to the steel post, so you must raise that hand up for 1 second
Yep.
and you cause concussion.
We've only seen that more than a few times when
Yeah,
the hand didn't get up there and then the blood is gushing. So
yeah.
we've only seen that many times.
So I mean, look, I just look at the entire thing and I go, these guys, they bought their ticket, they know they got themselves into. It's like an airplane, you know,
Yes.
So let them crash. But look, if taking metal steps away from an idea of using that as a weapon would still make a 5-star match a 5-star match, then okay, no problem. But I didn't catch Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. They probably used steel steps. That was a 5-star match. Those guys know how to work. Those guys know how to maneuver their bodies around certain ways.
I know.
Look, that's like in football. I wish they'd get rid of the screen pass. I'm really sick of. The running back is just lay out there all by his lonesome to an island. He's got 3 guys to come up on. I wish they'd do away with that, but they're not going to do that because if there's a chance to gain 7 yards down the field, they're going to do it, right?
Well, you would think.
So what it could have, should have, but it's not going to happen. So I can't focus on what's not going to work with this company. I'm more focused on what's going to draw the attention that this right now is rightly deserving, because people can sit there and talk, and I get a lot of this too because of what I do. They say, wrestling's fake, it's all predetermined, it's all bullshit. Okay, still draws money. When it doesn't draw money, we'll get back to you on that. When it becomes a stupid reason why we're doing this because we want to wear tight shorts and go in the ring and get the hell kicked out of us and use razor blades to cut ourselves, when it gets just down to that, then I'll tell you it's stupid. But when I have a lady at ringside at a wrestling show screaming her mother effing head off because she doesn't like the bad guys, she likes the good guys, and she wants this, she wants that, and she's going to give us hell because she wants to be part of the show. That's what she paid for. She paid $20 to be a part of that. So
entertainment, and it just depends on what you're going to spend your entertainment money on. And listen, WrestleMania, listen, they broke freaking records like you would not believe.
yeah.
Even, hey, listen, Vince McMahon. And by the way, I'm just going to throw this out here, and I know people get pissed at me. If you don't think Vince McMahon was and is a genius in the wrestling world, you're ignorant to wrestling, and you're just bowing to the bad publicity that's going on. Because and also, that also being said, so you're just going to take away the Undertaker and Vince McMahon's relationship and throw it out of WWE? I got news for you. If it and he has said it himself, that Conway said if it wasn't for Vince McMahon, he wouldn't be who he is. So that genius of that storyline and that character, is irrelevant because it was Vince McMahon. I got news for you. Okay, I'll put it to this, and I know this is horrible. I'm just going to say it. Those people did not have to do what they did for Vince McMahon. They willingly did what Vince asked them to do. Now, granted, is there a chance that you might lose your job or not thinking? I get that part of it, and I thoroughly do. But at the same time, if that was done 20 years ago, Vince McMahon would have been out of the business 20 years ago. If someone stood up instead of, I'm worried about my job, more so than I'm worried about myself, Vince McMahon would have been gone 20 years ago. So I'm going to throw a lot of the fault on this on the people who were his supposed victims. And I say supposed victims because they got paid to do what he asked them to do, and they did it. And they didn't have to. And I get the part of what people are talking about. But God, could you imagine, Trey, if someone would have stood up 20 years ago and said enough of
Well,
this
they tried
bullshit?
to. They tried
try.
to. They tried to, and they got brush. They got brush underneath them. I mean, they got paid off, or they got brush under the road.
They should have got the cops involved with it. Is what they should have done. That would have been done. Okay, and then Vince McMahon would have been done at the turn of the fucking century instead of going for another 20 years.
Sonny,
I'm not done yet. This is my
you're
time.
Done. You're done. Now look, you understand something about Vince McMahon. He's Teflon. You can't go through Teflon, okay? It's hard to do.
I understand.
I mean, look, this man has survived the steroid trial. This guy has survived thousands of lawsuits against him.
I know.
Okay? I mean, Jerry McDivitt is a very rich man because of that man, because of Vince McMahon. Mm-hmm. Okay? He's made a lot of money off of Vince. Defending him in court.
And there's a lot of people who made money off of Vince McMahon as a supposed victim with under the table payments.
Maybe so, but the idea is
maybe so. That's what happened.
Yeah, maybe so, but now does that mean it didn't happen?
No, I agree, but and that's my point. You just made my point for me.
No, I didn't.
The money was more important than the issue.
Look, all I know is that he's gone.
That's all I'm saying.
He's gone. And was he a genius? But look, business wise,
he was a genius. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Vince McMahon,
Sonny,
no one would have a job.
Sonny, let your teacher talk, okay? Shut up. No. Look. I think Vince McMahon, business wise, was a genius when it came to marketing his brand. Now, here's the thing.
Jerry Jones.
Well, I won't go that far, but what Triple H has done, he's taken all those tools that he learned under Vince, and he's made this thing go beyond global, because now he's putting big shows on overseas markets. He's generating the overseas dollar. He's making the WWE a more of a global brand. And by the way, this thing kind of falls into the better hands.
Oh, I agree.
Considering what was going on with it at the time, who was involved, what it was. I mean, this could have been the whole Chris Benoit steroid thing. Let's just bury WWE under the rug because of what the owner is all about. No. They said, look, that was then. This is now. What happened then, I can't answer for that, but I can say this. Moving forward, this is how we're going to do it.
But they sure in the hell benefited from it.
Oh, yeah.
All of them did.
Hey, Jerry Jones benefited of having 3 rings because of the team that Jimmy built.
I listen. It's the same thing.
I mean, but
I'm telling you, these guys wouldn't have wrestling would not be wrestling today without Vince McMahon. And if you can't, and I get what happened, but I'm gonna, and I know what I'm going to say is horrible, and I'm just going to say it. I'm putting 75% of the reason why that went on is because no one would do the right thing. They were more interested in the money. They were more interested in the glory. They were more interested in what it was. To me, that is purely accepting of what your job was. And if you had a problem with it, you should have said something. And that's where that's where all that problem is going to come, at least from me. As far as where I'm coming from on it, I'm not buying anybody was basically abused. I'm not buying it. So, that's just me.
Did you watch the Dark Side of the Ring last episode this past week?
No. What was it about?
It's about the Black Saturday event when Vince McMahon went to TBS and took over Georgia Championship Wrestling with his own brand of wrestling.
I have not watched it. When did that start?
It's on YouTube.
I usually see those months later because I don't, I got to see that. It
was very interesting because you have Ole Anderson and guys like that sitting there saying Vince came in here and just took over our TV and took over everything and this and that and ruined wrestling for us for what it was, right? And it's funny because Jim Barnett was the guy who was running Georgia Championship Wrestling at the time.
Right.
Well, Ole Anderson let him go. So what does Barnett do? He goes work for Vince. And he gets Vince into the whole TBS thing. And all of a sudden, but then I'm watching this going, but we were so close to having Frank Gagne do that because he had AWA on ESPN radio, on ESPN TV.
Yes, I remember that.
I mean,
I remember watching it.
I mean, they'd asked Fritz to do it. Fritz couldn't do it because it exposes boys, and he didn't have. And the Von Erichs were so huge in Texas, everywhere else not so much. And it was like you know, Bill Watts is wanting to do it too with Mid South, right?
Right.
So at the end of the day, was Vince really the bad guy for doing what everybody else wanted to do? But
He's
only
just
because, but only because
capable of doing it.
yeah, but he was the one that made it work.
Exactly.
And I mean, yeah, he can be an asshole all he wants. The thing is, this wrestling doesn't work without assholes behind the wheel.
I get
And I got news for you: the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, all the same. They got
right.
they got assholes running those things, regardless.
Who's going to
Okay.
be the one that turned the NFL into what the WWE is today, up under Roger Goodell, being Vince McMahon? Who's going to be the one that turns it and makes it whatever it's going to be? I get what you're saying.
So I think it's just it was very interesting to look at that, and I remember I was talking to my guys on Oscar TV about that, and of course we got the story of Michael McCurdy, who very much he's under that Jim Cornette spell.
Right.
Whatever Cornette says is gold and everything. Whatever else says is not so much.
I take them all with a grain of salt, and then from what I hear,
I do too, because they have a point, but that point can linger, and sometimes it's not in a good way because
I agree.
because you're only trying to push your narrative, not everybody else's.
Always a big story.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Vince Russo. When Vince Russo says, I was responsible for 90% of the wrestling, bro. Well, you may have helped write some of that, but you were not responsible for all of it. So it's just stupid shit.
That Vince, I don't even listen to what he says.
Bro, you should listen to me, bro. Bro.
I cannot fathom why anybody takes that guy seriously in reality,
because he has a voice that's annoying.
Oh yeah, and he was part of it. That could have been anybody in reality. Let's get serious. It's like
Jim Cornette be a one little bastard motherfucker.
Now, I love Jim Cornette as a manager. As far as him running a business, I loved him with the stupid tennis racket. That's what makes Cornette great. He makes a tennis racket work in wrestling. How the hell does that happen? That happens because you're great. I mean, and he was really good at what he did. So,
and by the way, I hope to God one day the Midnight Express get into the Hall of Fame with Jim Cornette in tow, because it is rightfully deserved. But
well, that's how you get more than one person in it, is by getting a group in it. So, look what they did to get China in. They put in DX, right?
That was the only way
China was going to get in, right?
Yeah, because everyone else, you look at China, you sit and go, "Wow, she gang banged 3 different guys here in this one video against the
okay. So and see, but that goes back to exactly what I was saying before. It doesn't make very much sense. But hey, what do I know? I watch it, for what it is, which is entertainment. So I don't know. Cuervo said he was going to be here, but I think I know what happened. His wife supposedly went on a girls' weekend in Vegas. Someone had to drive, man. That's all I gotta say. I think that's what we're dealing with. And it's 8:30, and he's hung way over because he let her go do what he did, or she did, and he went and did what he did. That bum is in Vegas. I want. This is what I want to do. I want the Couch Potato Sports Show to meet up in Vegas on Fremont Street. And I'm talking to everybody, whether that's you, whether that is Butch Wesson, Bill Cerna, my sidekick. I'm calling play-by-play, Cuervo, Tarvin, all of them. I want to meet up in Vegas and and just have a couch potato weekend, or during the best time to do is during the week because it's cheaper. But everybody said, "Oh, Sonny, you look like you had a ball." I had a friggin' ball. I know how to have fun when I want to have fun. We should all get up on Fremont Street. I'll get a hold of Binions. They'll give us a table for us to do a couple of shows. Kind of like a Comic-Con or whatever the case may be, and do it that way. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to try. I'm trying to set it up to where it would be a good time, and because we've done Vegas, we did the Couch Potato Sports Show, did a show on a blackjack table at the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino on Fremont Street. And then we did it in Binions. We did it twice at Binions. A lot of fun, and it'd be great to get like a couch potato round table kind of thing going on. And I think we could do it. I think we could pull it off and make it somewhat look good. And I would love if we could get Tom McManus to come on out. That'd be just a trip up on top of it. So, speak of the friggin' devil. Oh my gosh, his ears are probably ringing.
You can't see me.
I don't know how much we're going to see up on the right now. That being said, it is the one and only Cuervo on the road, and I know where you're at. Cuervo, can you hear us?
I can now, Sonny. Can you hear me?
I got you there. You're driving around in Vegas, you bum.
I did not go to Vegas, but I
You
was
did
at a
not?
casino.
Well, I thought you would have. Hey, your woman's going. Someone's got to drive. I thought you'd be the chauffeur. Get the benefits
Hell
of the
no.
chauffeur.
Hell no. Listen. It was an all-girl thing, because women like to celebrate failed marriages. I don't know. That's just what they do. And so I stayed home, and I did my own thing.
I gotcha. Who'd you go see last night?
I haven't seen
I thought
anybody.
you might have went to a show at a local casino over there or something. No, All right.
No. I saw my chip stack grow, but that's about it.
Gotcha. Well, you're driving around California. Why are you driving around? You go work out and do all the things that you do when the wife's not around?
No, I just left the casino, Sonny.
Oh,
Just pay attention more.
no, but wait. So a casino locally, I misunderstood. So did you sleep at all, or did you do an all-nighter? How was the tables?
I pulled an all-nighter. I slept till like 11 o'clock last night, got up and got ready, and I've been gone since. So, and I hope my wife is not watching this, but
she may sometimes.
yeah.
Sometimes I notice she is watching, so it's just like, holy crap.
Yeah, I know. Just out of nowhere, she comments on the Broncos or something.
Yeah, exactly. Out of nowhere. Well, it is only 8:41. Depending on what they did last night, she could still be hung way over, and she probably not even knowing what's going on over there. Where's she staying, by the way, in Vegas?
So her friend got a room at the Delano.
The what?
The one that's like Delano, the one that's like cousin to the Mandalay Bay or whatever.
Okay. All right. I haven't heard of that, but then again, I hang out on Fremont, so there you go.
Yeah, so it's a newer hotel. It's right next to the Mandalay Bay.
Got it. Okay. And places where this blue collar guy don't go. Because I stay away from all those places that take.
Okay, how can you be a blue collar guy when he's going to say, I know the Binions, we'll be all right. We'll get a table over there. We're fine.
Dude,
no problem.
That's where I met this guy at Binions. By the way, I had a friendship thing come up that was 14 years. I was like, no, I think I've known him longer. But now that I think about it, it's been about 14. It is 14 going into 15 years.
Yeah, it has. Golly, yeah. Time flies, huh?
Oh my gosh. So, by the way, before you came on, what I want to do, you notice how the Comic-Cons put together what do they call them? A talk thing. What's that called? Come on, help me, Podfather.
A round table.
Round table, thank you. Which is what the idea of our show was called. Kind of like a sports roundtable when we went into that being said. But I'd like to do that. I want to get back out to Vegas. I want to get back out and making some noise and doing like a roundtable and get everybody out there. Whether it's Bill Cerna, Butch Wesson, the Podfather. I'd love to get Bryce out to Las Vegas. That would be There's old Trey with the rolling of the eyes, but it would be great to kind of like do a round table, a couple of shows, and I think we could actually pull it off. So I want to do
Sonny,
that.
you missed a spot. You missed a spot from all the drool.
I'm
Right?
just since I went last, I've been jonesing to get back, so it's just like one of those things. So I want to see. I'm going to see about maybe trying to get that done and pulling that off and just going out and
All right, let's
blowing
do
off
it.
some steam. I know that's what I'm saying. I think we definitely should do it, and it'd be the second time I met Cuervo in person. I've only met him in person once, but he wasn't even part of the show at that time. So. Yeah, he stuck to me like glue, so we should do that. So, but I am glad you're here, by the way, and the main reason why is
Are you guys done talking wrestling?
Yeah, we're done talking wrestling, but look at what I found for you. Did you see that? Can you see that?
I did see that. That was very cool. That is very cool.
That I thought that is just the moniker of the Bears this year is to eat up the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going to ask you, Cuervo, do you think it will happen?
Eat them up? No. Do I think that they'll be competitive to where maybe they can split the games this year? They both, get a home victory. Yeah, I think that's possible. Absolutely. Because, I like the direction that the defense is going. We'll see what the offense brings. But, I don't think people should get their head wrapped too much around what they saw out of the Packers. And maybe that's just the bias in me talking, but
I don't think it's I agree with you because I like to go back in time to the Cleveland Browns when one quarterback was winning useless games. Okay. Now, granted,
Brian Hoyer, I already know.
Brian Hoyer. I mean, hey, he got his money. Congratulations. He fooled everybody, not me. I never bought into it. And by the way, I was right. I don't even have to say I was wrong. I was right about Brian Hoyer. That having been said, of course, that's the name of the show. Catch us 9 to noon here today and some other times at others. But when you take a look at what guys are doing now in the NFL compared to, at the end of the season, and even to the certain point of your Justin Fields at the time winning football games that were meaningless. You knew they weren't going into the playoffs, but everybody was giving them such praise on winning football games that did not matter. So, and so the roundabout of this, Cuervo, is that you're okay with Justin Fields being gone. If you were the general manager, would you give him an opportunity with the new team that has been built based upon him being gone, give him the opportunity to play that if you had the GM hat on?
Well, I mean, there was an opportunity for that to happen. The problem, though, was that the GM didn't see I guess he just couldn't visualize the future with Justin Fields as the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and that's why he decided to make the move and trade him away. I think.
But Caleb Williams is that guy?
Caleb Williams is that guy. No, I get it. He hasn't proven anything yet. So
exactly.
I'm gonna make no valiant speech that the Podfather can laugh at. At least not.
I don't like this, sir.
Say that again.
I don't laugh at your speeches. In fact, the fact that you came on here and said, "Well, I think both the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears will go. They'll probably win each game at home." That's not the Cuervo I want to hear. I want to hear the Cuervo is going to sit there and go, "We're going to go there. We're going to tear their hearts out. We're going to eat everything out." I want to hear. I want to have the week one impassionate, Cuervo speech when it comes to the Bears.
You won't get that until see now the problem with you not being part of the show, you won't see that until after preseason. Speaking of preseason, I wanted to get everybody's opinion. I'll start with the Podfather. They're thinking about instituting 18-game season, 2 preseason games. Are you liking that idea, Podfather, or are you thinking, well, maybe that's not a good idea?
No, I don't want to. I don't want a 17-game season. I don't want an 18-game season. I want a 16-game season.
I do too. I fully agree with you. Holy crap. I always thought the 17th game is a big mistake in reality, as far as that. Cuervo, do you like the idea of 18 games in 2 preseasons?
Not really. I think that it may not matter to us. Yeah, exactly. Let's throw the flag on that. It may not matter to us as fans, right? But think about this. You asked me a minute ago to put my GM hat on. I want you guys to put your head coaching hat on for a second and think about if your job was to be the head coach of a football team. Doesn't matter what team or what league. It could be whatever league. It could be indoor, whatever. And you're tasked with keeping the best 53-man roster. I don't know what it is in other leagues, but let's just say 53 men on your football team, but you only have 2 games to evaluate certain guys and make that decision whether they're the best fit for the team or not. I just don't think it's enough time.
I fully agree.
To us, the games don't matter. They're boring. But to coaches, assistant coaches, coordinators, position all those guys, they need every snap that they can get out of those guys to really sit and evaluate and see if those guys are fit to play for your football team. And so to cut the preseason out just so the NFL can be greedy, let's call it what it is, so the NFL can be greedy and make more money with regular season games, it's such a hypocrisy to what the NFL claims that they stand for.
Well, that's true.
Player safety and integrity of the game and all this other nonsense. I call BS. And this is total BS. It's total BS, exactly. And I'm sure you guys both, to an extent, agree with that. I just think it's dumb. The 17 game, I think that even happened for a stupid reason because I think they didn't want teams finishing 500 anymore. So they're like, let's add another game and that way nobody finishes at an exact 500 record. Like,
yeah, you either have a winning record or a losing record now.
Like, why does it matter? It doesn't matter. Like The Rock says, it doesn't matter. So
exactly.
I'm totally against that.
Yeah, it don't mean squad. So it is one of those things. I think when I take a look at it, and lots of talk, there's a lot of talk going on about it, and one guy that's talking about it, which I and maybe I'm missing something, but one Joe Burrow is got a lot to say about it. He says, as far as that, the buys are the big question in reality because of what it does to the bodies, and that's what he's talking about. All stars, big name players, are going at it at full speed instead of half speed or whatever the case may be, in reality. But as far as how they work the buys and how if they are going to put the players health as a priority, this does totally go against player safety in reality, because of the way the body breaks down, because of the wear and tear each and every year on a athlete's body. And then you get into the fact, then, well, if that's going to happen, there's got to be changes to contracts, and not just giving them more money for that game, but also figuring out what they can do for their health for the rest of their lives after football. And there's still not enough being done for that part of it as well. So I agree with you. I think there is a big corporate greed that's going on in the NFL. Yeah, so, Podfather, if you were going to be the NFL, you still want to make money, but you really want to make player safety a priority. Are you going to an 18 game season?
No, because first of all, think of it this way: how long is a college football season?
Say that again.
How long is a college football season?
13,
it's 11
14
games.
Okay, so now
10 or 11, right?
Well, it's like 12 for the regular season, and if you get a bowl game, you get 13.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Okay. So now you're telling these players who are putting their bodies at harm's way week in, week out, let's add 5 more weeks to that.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to ask. And if you're going to sit there and bitch about, if you're going to do that and it's all about money, fine. Share some of the TV revenue with the players.
They're not going to fall into that unless they can get a good collective bargaining agreement.
Or do away with the salary cap. Because if first of all, and this is going to sound weird, your boss is called your owner. Okay? There are players who can take this way. We are slaves to our owner because we have to work X amount of time.
Well, they've said that before.
Yeah. So, are they wrong if you want to prolong?
Yeah, I've heard that comparison before too.
I mean, are they wrong if you want to go, hey, we want 2 more games out of y'all? Okay. I mean, what if I can't go 18 games? And by the way, what does this do for the sports records? Now this gives an NFL running back 2 extra games to try to pass Emmett's record. I mean, this is the same thing in baseball when they went to 162 games. Now you have X amount of games hit the home run record. It's greed. It's all it is. It's just fucking greed. And I get there's a lot of money made on TV and merchandising and everything else. I get all that. But player safety should come first. And the preseason is built there. I mean, you're talking the same amount of weeks football-wise as far as, 4 weeks of preseason, 16 weeks of regular season. I get all that.
Yeah.
But those 4 weeks are to help find the 53 players you need to go the entire season. Right now, we're seeing a major decline in performance out there by players who are not NFL ready, who are being forced to be NFL ready right now. And it's a detriment to the sport because it puts them in, especially if you're a rookie, it puts them in the 3 to 4 year span of a learning curve, and then all of a sudden they go to the second contract, and they're with the second team by now because they couldn't figure it out in the first team.
Right. So
you've already ruined that draft choice, and so it's just adding 2 real games to the schedule and deleting 2 games that don't really mean a lot as far as record standing. It's ridiculous. You got to have time to build that, and they're jumping off the way. They're jumping the deep end for me for doing that far.
Well, if you think about what Bryce says all the time, though, and Cuervo knows, what he says is that you don't build from 1 to 11. You build from 12 to 53 or 60, whatever. I thought it was 53, but that's where you build. And if you're not getting enough time in the preseason to see the 12 to 53, how are you going to figure out who the hell you're going to have on your football team to help them move forward? And I think it takes away from that evaluation time. Exactly. And it kills it. So Cuervo, I mean, you see, and that classic line from Bryce is the reason why they really need to stay away from this, because you'll take away from the quality of play out on the football field, and then it's also more of an injury risk as well, I think, as well.
Yeah, 23 through 53. That's the same, because 1 through 22, you know who those guys are.
Yeah, you
know
should.
Patrick Mahomes is going to start at quarterback. Yeah, you know who the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs is. You know who the starting number one wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals is, right? Well, what about number 4? What about the third string running back when the backup goes down? You know, who's going to be that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to be the backup center when he gets hurt because he hit his hand on somebody's helmet? You know, little things like that. You need that time as a coach to evaluate who's going to be the best 53-man roster for your team.
Absolutely.
And to another point, Sonny, we could talk about safety and all that stuff. Coaches, if they don't have enough time to evaluate, they could very well miss out on some great talent and not even know it.
Yep.
There could be guys that they let walk and they go on to somebody else's practice squad and just blow up and become a star in the league. And they're like, son of a bitch, we had him on his team. We thought about keeping him, but we weren't quite sure because we didn't see enough from him. I'll be damned. We let him go.
Wouldn't you know? It's just crazy.
I'm sure it's happened already.
You bet. Go ahead, Podfather.
One thing we're taking out of consideration on this entire thing, maybe it's a who gives a shit thing from y'all on this. What about the fans? What I mean, you think of this
who
way.
Gives a shit?
Right.
Gives a shit?
Right. Yeah. But I'm saying when the owners come up with their season ticket package, to for the fans to go by, now you're adding 2 extra games to it, right? That matter. Now I know they kind of prepare the fans for this because they were charging regular season prices on preseason games, but now this gives them a chance to say now every game is important. So now we've upped our ante. So now you've hit the NFL fans with the idea. Who, by the way, the NFL says we care about our fans. Well, do you, or you just care about their money? Because now you're asking these fans.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. So it's just crazy.
Well, there's 2 types of fans, though. Let's be honest, right? All right, there are fans like us, okay, that we will break down everything, and what is good for whether it's the team player or ownership or the league. And then there are the fans that are going to sit and just watch football on Sunday that don't have, that much of an interest into it. And that's who the NFL really cater to. Let's be honest, they don't cater to us. They know we're going to be there. Right. So in order to get someone else to that game or to see it, they got to bring that in. I would think.
Right, yeah, those are the casual meatballs that don't know any better.
Exactly. Meatballs. I love it. All right. You guys take over the show. Continue talking about this. I got to check up on something. I will be right back. But more in the fact that if they go to a 18 game season, obviously I think injuries are the biggest part of that story as far as the players are concerned. Do you think that, I think if they ended up doing that, I think that every player should have a right to renegotiate their contract based upon what's going on. If they're going to make those changes, I think that the players should have the option to have a say about how those changes are going to be made. So I'll shoot that to you guys. What do you think about the players having input regarding that 18 game schedule that actually affects them? And I'll be listening to the side. I'll shoot it over to the Podfather.
What do I think about this? Well, they've raised a stink about it for several years, and the owners are still going to go through with it. So, their voice doesn't matter. I mean, we can act like it does and it should, but at the end of the day, the owners and the commissioner don't give a shit because they're paying them X amount of dollars to do it anyway, so it doesn't matter. Go ahead, Cuervo.
Right. Yeah. What I would say is that there's two sides to the whole negotiation thing. So the players can come to the table and say, hey, you know what? Since we're going to play another game, then I think we should bump up the salaries. Okay. If that's what you want, if that's what you think is is right, doing right by your players and your employees of the league. Okay, cool. Well, you know what owners and GMs and teams are going to do. So you know how a lot of time, and this is just me thinking, I don't know this for fact, but yeah, there's always a lot of incentives within the bonuses of the contract, right? Well, those incentives are about to get a little bit harder if you want more money and there's another game involved. So, for example, I mean, it could be something as simple as, well, you know what, five receiving touchdowns is not that's not going to be the mark anymore. Now it's going to be 7, or 1,000 yards receiving or rushing is not going to be enough for an incentive. Now it's going to be 1,200. Stuff like that. So both sides can play the game where you want higher salaries. Okay, well, you're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to earn it. We're not just going to hand it to you. We're not going to just you know give you what you want without having to work for it. So I just think that there's going to be a situation where you see a lot of incentive bonuses become harder than what you normally see them. When we went from 16 to 17, I don't think teams really adjusted anything because
Right.
I mean, it's just one game, so it's like, all right, if you hit the mark, you hit the mark. Good for you. But I think if you had an 18th game, I think you're going to start seeing higher standards for incentive bonuses. So that's the other side that the owners can play and GMs can kind of.
You kind of bring up there, Cuervo.
So that's
You know,
my
on
that's my 2 cents.
you know,
on
on
that.
this is my thing though. Think about when the NFL went from 14 games to 16 games. I don't know what kind of a big stink there was back then for that, but do you think the NFL is only going to stop at 18, or are they trying to make their way to 20?
By God, I would hope so. Like come on, 18. I think 18 is ridiculous in itself. Leave it at 17, man. Like, what are we doing here?
Listen. I can remember being a kid, and I used to love it when football season started, and I hated when it ended. But there's a reason why it had to end.
Oh, I'm still that way.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, look, when you're 10 years old, you don't care about player safety. You care about seeing your favorite football team on the field.
Yep.
But now that you're
Right.
almost 50 and you're like looking at the idea of these some young kids who are getting the hell kicked out of them, they need a break. Again, the NFL's greedy. They're not going to sit there and go, 18 is nice. God, 20 is our magic number.
I think you're right. I think there's illusions of grandeur as far as the NFL is concerned on what they are going to be trying to do in the future. And I think Podfather, I think you might be onto something. 20, that's the number.
Well, and then here's the other thing though. What does college football do? Do they stay with the same 12 game schedule that they normally have, or do they start expanding on that?
Man, those players will be making a lot more money if they expand. I got news for
That's
you.
for sure.
The
I mean,
NIL that
yeah.
changes the whole dynamic. Once Pandora's box was open for college players to make money, it just changed all the aspects and the nuances that could happen as far as players are concerned in the NFL. I truly believe Pandora's box has opened up to college players, not just football, but just college players and all sports being paid. And that brought it to this situation. So they're seeing the greed on the lower side of it, that being whether it's high school, because believe it or not, high school football players make money, basketball players make money. It's pathetic. But that the continual upscale of money being involved with games is unbelievable. And you're adding another game, more games onto it. 20 might be the number. It looks like Cuervo's heading into the house.
Yeah, that is right. I'm heading into the house.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to feed animals and stuff, aren't you? You're gonna have to get into that part of it, right? I believe me, I know. I got 2 cats and a dog, so I kind of understand what the hell you got to do the first thing you walk in. So if you need to bail for a couple of minutes, Cuervo, and hop back on, we completely understand. And we, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do that. You bail for a couple of minutes. We'll go ahead and hear from our sponsors, of course, that being Mint Mobile, and for the shows, we'll take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, we'll continue talking NFL and some other things that I got, lined up that we haven't gotten to because we were talking wrestling for a while. And we'll do that on the other side here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll be right back.
Ryan Reynolds here. Big Wireless has once again raised their prices. In response, we're bringing back our deflation promotion. The marketing department asked me to be as explicit as possible when explaining it. So here we go. Because we don't love f***ing our customers over like Big Wireless. We're bringing back our offer for unlimited premium wireless for only $15 a month. Me to the moon and back. That's a great deal. Explicit enough marketing.
Cracks me up. Just freaking cracks me up every time I see that commercial.
Hey, just FYI, I got 20 minutes to go until I get ready for work. So.
All right, so you're out here in 20, and which put us right back up on, up on schedule. And but by the way, I'm going to play this, and when we come back until Cuervo gets here, we're going to continue on a little wrestling. I want people to see this. We went off air to this, and I want to talk to Podfather about it. We'll be right back.
Jerome Daniels here tonight, trying to get his championship back. First of all, get it straight. He is the champion of the world. First off. Second of all. But, whoa, wait a minute, we're being drunk.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah.
What did you say I was? How did you address me? You know what? Stop stuttering. Let me tell you how you're going to address me. I am the sore heavyweight champion of the world. Everybody that's come before me that's had this title has only been a sore champion. I'm the one who took this overseas. I'm the one who defended it in the UK. I am the sore heavyweight champion of the world. Do you understand? Stop stuttering. Do you understand?
Yes.
How will you address me from here on out?
The sore heavyweight championship, sir.
Heavyweight champion of the world.
Of the world, sir. Well, he told you. Yes, he did. I guess we're going to go right to the ring for the first match.
Just cracks me up.
You know, one thing, I'm not sure if you picked that up, if you picked up on this or not. Do you know the shirt I was wearing?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, the shirt. Yes.
Yeah. It was a Pretty Boy Killer shirt that had Keith Lee and Shane Taylor name on it. So he wasn't going to mess with me because I bought his shirt.
Think about this. I go back to that whole thing.
I missed that face of Sonny though. Where now I'm surrounded with Christmas the entire year. Why? Why? I mean,
that whole thing was such a crack up. And listen, I think you were right about the game. The match that we called with Dante Smiley and Nate in the cage was probably one of our best. But I think that moment right there might have been just the best moment.
We had so many great moments. As far, I mean, the Dean Fleming three stages of hell match with him and Rob Rising.
Yeah. Nate throws what's his nose into the Christmas tree. I just put together a short for that that's going to air in a couple weeks. funny.
But I mean, the idea of that moment when he takes it those in there, I'm going, "Oh my God, Nate killed Christmas!"
That's
And
just great.
because if you remember at that time, I had talked to Nate before that. I'm like, when you bring him up here, I want you to shove me down the chair, and then because you and I have got this friction, it's okay, no problem. He totally forgot to do that, and we were expecting to do that.
Yep,
So
I
what
remember that.
was not showing the short is that later on it says you come across on me and go, I want him to club me, and I'm like, he knew better.
Yeah, we had some great fun moments doing what we were doing there. So that just
I think if you were back there right now, I don't think he'd be trying to establish a different commentary team that he's trying to do right now. And I think you and I would still have our fun doing it with me still managing at the time, because
Right.
I think the idea of you watching me do that and you
Would
just
drive
putting
me
the bad
nuts.
mouth on me, and then I
Yep.
come back and then you do the Gorilla Monsoon thing, I think that would have been priceless for us. Now, man, I don't know if Bobby would have seen that, but I think we would have had a lot of fun with that. But this last show that we did on Saturday, I go out to the show. I've got the music going. I've got the commentary set up, and I cannot talk. I could barely have a voice. And Bobby looked at me. He said, "You just managed to say I got someone to do commentary, and we got a guy doing the music." I'm like, all right, cool. And it was kind of a nice. My son was there ringing the bell, so he's taken well to that very well. And so I got to sit back in the back with the boys and kind of do something I don't always do, and not watch the show.
Right.
Because I'm surrounded with, we're at the Carrollton place, so that was kind of hard to watch.
Being on commentary,
Yeah.
you watch it.
Yeah, and so I got to go outside with my guys and talk to them. We cut a promo. I haven't aired that yet. But
I saw the promo with you and the boys.
yeah, on the other one, yeah. I aired on the Trey McLean one, not Trey Mack.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, it was it was a cool thing to where I've got those two kids. One kid, Ryan, who knows very well what he's doing. I think he's going to be really good when he gets more synced into a situation. Z is a kid who he's overthinking a lot of things right now, and I'm like, you need to get out of your head. Do 3 things. Just do 3 things. We'll work on a 4th thing. Do 3 things, and work on, because in part of the match we had, he got the hell kicked out of him. But I told him before the match, like, go out there like you're cocky. Put your hair in a ponytail. You didn't do that. Put your hair in a ponytail. Have your head up like this. Act like you own the world and this kind of shit. And so when they beat you up and they put the ass whipping on you that you rightly deserve, it goes with reason, because you're cocky as hell.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to get the win. So just do that. And then you have Ryan back here, who's your powerhouse. He's your Neidhart. So let him go out there and clean house and do what he has to do. I'm on the end doing my part. You go out there and you take your ass kicking, because that's the character that works you. And I even showed some pictures of Rick Martel back when he did the model thing. I'm like,
that might be my 3rd favorite.
Yeah,
wrestler.
I was like, this is
Rick, the model, not the other stuff, but the model.
I said, this is the kind of look you should probably go for. Nose up, act like you own it all, that kind of stuff, because it creates an attitude for you. That attitude builds your character. That character makes you go through the matches, and that carries the people who are going to love you or hate you one way or the other. And that's how this thing works.
Absolutely.
But he's got I see a lot of these guys in the back. They're going, do this, I do that, do this, I do that, do this, I do that. No, just do this and that. Work on the crowd. Don't worry about this, and this. Just work on this, and this. Slow it down. Because you go on 1,000,000 miles an hour, people aren't going to be able to take all that in and take it home with them and go, oh my God, what did I just see? That was fantastic. And he did this, and he did this, and he did this. They don't remember the 3 things you did. So make them count.
And here's one of my things that really drives me nuts about young, new people. If they actually knew what people think about you, and using the story that Nate's wife can't stand you, You know, that's it. And by the way, that's not just Nate's wife. A lot of people don't like you.
They love me.
Yeah, and how that gets over, and you're not even wrestling. So and how that and when I watch young folks, when I go to shows like this, and I watch to see if they could take what is given to them and somehow put it together in the ring. And one of the coolest things is, I'll give you an example. When we did Sormania 2 with Austin Aries and what he was doing to try to, educate the young people, and how people were so glued. I think out of all of them, they were glued to what Austin Aries was telling them. And I know
Well, for one thing, they want to know which pawn shop he was going to take the sword title to and go pawn it.
exactly.
Pretty genius.
The way that he had everybody's attention, and you seen in those matches what he taught in that thing. And if they just take one thing and put it in the ring that night, it's noticeable. Every match had a Austin Aries, feeling about it based upon what he was teaching in that
Well, a good rule to follow with that is look at what your main event is.
Mm-hmm.
How is your match going to be comparable to what the main event's going to be putting out there? Because that's what they're going to get. They should get that the entire show. Because not every match is a main event caliber match, but maybe if you show that you have main event talent,
exactly,
and then maybe it'll shed eyes on other people, and then sure enough, it'll help out the people in the back.
I fully agree with that.
I think in working with the two guys I work with, once again, I've been very fortunate. I mean, when I was first told I was going to be managing, and they said, okay, we're going to put you with Gabe and Chris as a tag team, and we're going to have Elijah. And I've talked to Elijah, and at the time, Elijah looked like he was someone who could really need someone to listen to him.
Yes.
But the problem with Elijah was the fact that he's still stuck in his head as far as what he thinks a professional wrestler should be, and not understanding the fact that you could be all that when you're a babyface, but you're a heel. And when you're a heel, we know you can do all that, but why aren't you? Why aren't you
doing the heel unless they know you can do the work in the ring?
Right.
And if you start off as a baby face, it's almost like they know you need work in other places. So that's
and honestly, being in the hill is like taking a night off.
Absolutely.
Because the deck's not stacked against you. You create your own deck. And he never quite grasped that. And he's still working as a heel with Nate Vaughn, and I'm sure him and D'Anthony Price are going to figure this stuff out eventually. I think those guys, a little all in water for me, but I mean at the same time, I think they're going to sink or swim depending on how they progress, if they do progress. Now when Gabe went to Nate and Chris kind of jumped ship and Elijah did his own thing, for me to end up with Ryan and Z as I did, I found two guys. Well, one guy, Branch and he probably didn't think much about me in the beginning because he didn't understand the value of what I brought to the table for him.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's winning matches because of being able to cheat and being able to do things that he's able to do, he sees the value that I bring because we had taken him on several different times and we'd always beaten the hell out of him.
Yep.
In fact, some of the promos he shows is me beating him up. This is the fact that we work well together. He's actually, and to his credit, when I was sick, he actually reached out to me privately. Says, "Hey, you all right, man? You feeling better?" I mean, he didn't have to do that,
Yep.
So for him to do that, it's awesome. For Z, his thing is he's in his head, and a lot of young kids get this way because they're hit with overloads of stuff, right? I got to be able to do this, and this, but I got to do this, and this, and on top of that, I got to do this, and this. Well, slow it down.
Right.
Close your eyes, slow it down. Remember, the people watching their match, if they're watching you do 1,000 moves, they're not making a sound. They're not watching you.
Exactly.
But if you sit there and you do one move, you look at the crowd, you look at that kid in the front row, and you tell that kid he's ugly as hell, or if you look over at me and say, "I got him, Podfather, I got him," and I'll do my part. It's all about what's around us. I have to be aware of.
Absolutely.
That's why there's a video I have of me hitting Randy really hard, like right here, and you hear the smack, and people ask me, it's like, I thought wrestling was fake. I'm like, well, whatever you want to call it. Here's the thing: I'm around people who are actually able to watch this.
Mm-hmm.
They have to hear what I'm doing. I have to make it count. I have to make it stick. So you heard the noise. What was your first impression? That shit ain't real. Well, then I did my part. So I think a big part of young kids when they go through and you got a lot of guys like I won't say his name, but a lot of guys who believe way too much of their own hype, and guys who aren't guys who are not in the Sword Championship Wrestling. I'm talking about a certain radio guy who thinks too highly of himself. But and now he's a manager, and I'm sure he's got a crowd, he's got an audience. But you know what? He doesn't know how to work. Just because you're roommates with a certain wrestler doesn't make you an actual worker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, look, I get it. He brings a lot of pizzazz. He dresses the part. He does this. He does that. But he doesn't know how to work.
Yep.
And maybe he'll learn.
Maybe.
But I mean, maybe if he's willing to go underneath the natural learning tree and actually learn something, and not pretend that you're under Teddy Long's learning tree, maybe that'd be one way to do it. Because just because you and Teddy Long you'll get high with each other doesn't make that a learning tree.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, enough about that though. But look,
well, I got an idea. Go ahead. No,
I mean, we have another show coming up. Do you remember the Sports Garden in Coppell?
Yeah, I remember that. That's where I actually called my first matches. Was at Sports Garden.
We're going back June 1st.
That's what I heard. June
1st, and then on June 22nd, we have our big summer spectacular that we're going to be doing over at the place we call Sword Mania 2 at. So, a lot of fun is going to happen there, and Sports Garden is going to be our new home. It's going to be our new Elks Lodge. So I'm looking.
Oh, really? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Good luck with that. I hope that works. I really does. I of course, I always hope everything works out for Sword Championship Wrestling. This is what it is. Mm-hmm. So now, that being said, I want to hop back. We're going to get back into the NFL, and I want to go to your team, Dallas Cowboys.
Okay,
Dallas Cowboys.
I got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
All right. Well, Dallas Cowboys. This was about going after Henry, the running back, on what's going on. Basically, what is being said here is that they were worried about the cap aspect of bringing a Henry to the team and what they could and could not do based upon what is going on with the cap and way it worked. So the Cowboys had almost $4.5 million in cap room, and that's the 30th in the NFL. Which they obviously needed more. Which, with in turn, if they could renegotiate the Dak Prescott and the CeeDee Lamb situation, they would be in a much better position. That being said, Cuervo, the money aspect being a part of it. I'm sorry. Thank you, Podfather. I'm not buying. Because there's nobody that worries about the money aspect of it if you're the Dallas Cowboys. So I'm not buying the story. I'm not buying the excuses. What do you think was the real reason why they didn't go after Henry? And I don't think it was money.
Okay. First of all, you just showed me a quote that Jerry Jones told Adam Schefter.
Yes.
On ESPN. It's called lip service, sir.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't buy anything that Jerry Jones ever says to the media. Okay, I don't buy that.
What does he lie or something? Is he
no, Sonny. He doesn't tell whole truth. He tells half truths. Okay,
right.
Maybe they didn't have the money for it, but he's not willing to spend that kind of money for a running back.
Yeah,
bottom line.
Exactly.
Okay, and could Henry help the team out? Sure. Does he want him to help out? You know what? Jerry's going to write his own course until the thing fails. You know, and I mean, when it fails, I mean when it goes 1-15 again. Okay, because he's been there. That's in his mind. That's the ultimate failure.
Everybody I'm reading saying that the Dallas Cowboys are going to take a step back this year. Every place
sure.
I'm reading.
Hey, I think the Cowboys will be a great regular season team. Playoffs, not going to say nothing about that.
Yeah,
okay.
You just can't.
Yeah, really, I have nothing to really base that on. No, so after 20 years, shit to look at. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not stupid.
Yes.
But, look, Jerry's going to be Jerry.
Yeah.
We can't stop that. The only thing that's going to stop him is God. When God sits there and goes, "Okay, it's time for you to go now." That's enough.
That's enough. Appreciate it. Well, that being said, Podfather, I'm glad that you look like you're feeling better. I was actually worried about you. 2 weeks in a row, you look like death warmed over. I didn't know if you were gonna, cool off or not. Death was just gonna hang on you. You look good. You sound good too, which is,
I know everybody. I'm back. Yeah, I'm excited.
Watch
I'm pumped
out.
up. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah. Where's the bed? I need to lay down.
Right behind me.
Exactly. So, but always good to see you. Oh, I'm glad that you were able to jump on here for a couple hours, talk some good wrestling, which, God, we don't get enough.
I mean, it's a rare time we do it, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
I can't, you know what though? I cannot wait until August. Start talking football.
Oh yeah.
And when football starts to matter again, and then we get into week 1, week 2, week 3. And I probably won't be in it. I probably won't be in on all the weeks because there'll be times where I got my son. But definitely, I'm looking forward to this. In fact, speaking of which, not this Thursday, but next Thursday, my middle daughter graduates high school, and she's accepted to go to TWU in the fall.
Oh, right up there, just right down the way from you, up the way from me. But yeah.
So
basically across the street where my daughter went to school.
Right, she's got a music major, so she's going to be going there for their music stuff. I'm excited to see that for her. And of course, today's Mother's Day, and for those who have mothers, give them a call, tell them you love them, because without them, there's no you.
Right. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there.
Yeah. I lost my mother about 12 years ago, so I've had my mother-in-law to work off of for the last 12 years. And clearly, I mean, and I have the best mother-in-law in the world. Because
tough day to get through.
It is, but at the same time, I look at it this way.
Yep.
When I bought my vehicle over a year ago, here in Oklahoma, they do getting your license tag different than they do in Texas. You have to pay all your TTNL at one time, to get your license plate. I didn't have that. I have that kind of money, so I've been going around with a paper tag for the longest time. My mother-in-law gave me the money to get my license plate, and I paid her back.
Wow,
it was roughly $1,700. So, for her to do that when I'm not even living with her daughter anymore, and for her to be the greatest mother-in-law you can ever imagine having. And hell, I go see them every once in a while. Bring Cooper over there, and when we hang out with them, play cards with them, everything else. I mean, to have that relationship with her that I have, I'm very grateful for. And I do miss my own mother because I remember the last couple of years of her being alive. And when I was a truck driver back in the day, I would take her on the truck with me every once in a while. And we used to call it the Glee McLean farewell tour. Because she would go see cities she'd never seen before, and just hadn't been there. Our last trip, she got to see her birthplace, New York City. So that was a big thing. And of course,
nice road trip.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, we did a lot of Memphis to Chicago to North Carolina to Atlanta down to Louisiana, back up to Pennsylvania. She used to love going to see Pennsylvania during the fall season because when all the leaves changed and everything else, and that was her big thing. So again, I don't have that anymore, but I did have it before, and that's happy Mother's Day to those who've got mothers who you can do stuff with, and enjoy those mimosas and everything else you can go get. I gotta go deal with idiots at the casino, so enjoy.
Definitely. All right, my man. Good to see you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Any
Yes, sir.
concerts tonight? Who's there tonight?
No concerts tonight. No, it's
All right.
just a regular work week.
You're just gonna stand and look goofy.
Well, I'll be sitting because I'm on light duty because of my back. So
There you go. You got light duty and you're able to sit. Hey, there you go. You did good.
Yeah.
Because I know you did a lot of walking in that big ass place.
It's not so much that, but the fact that my hips are not aligned with each other right now because of all my previous history with my back and my neck. I'm still getting that fixed right now. That's the process. It's a downfall of people who say wrestling's fake. I can bear when a doctor looks at you and goes, "How are you walking?" I'm like, "Well, clearly I'm a miracle."
Well, we should just call you the enigma. The enigma is what we should do.
No, I
forget
can't
the Podfather, the
I can't
enigma.
spell that, so don't worry about that.
It's all right. Very good. Have a good day, my friend.
See you, boss.
Take care. He is the Podfather. You can check him out. He's got all kinds of stuff going on over there. Thursday night show, which I occasionally get the opportunity to watch, and obviously coming here and joining us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show week in and week out. So that being said, lots of things that are going on in the NFL and the things that come into play, and some of the things that I was going to talk to the Podfather about. I'll just roll through because there have been some talks, and I wish Obi was here because we have spotting. Nick Chubb is definitely a guy that's coming down, and I talk about this now. The fact that Nick Chubb, unfortunately, does not have a Kareem Hunt now, it changes the look at what the Cleveland Browns are at the running back position. And you can say whatever you want about if he's good, if he's not, how he is, how he's not. But the fact that this guy in his final year, his final year of his, contract, he goes to a restructure. Now, the breakdown of the restructure before the restructure. So the breakdown of his contract was the fact that he was going to get paid $11.7 million with a $4 million bonus and then some other bonus and equaling close to, $500,000, a total cap hit of $16 million. The restructure moves it to where that they are going to save a lot of money as far as the cap hit. In reality, they're going to save over $9 million in the cap. Not that he's not going to get his money, but the restructure for business purposes, in reality, for the Browns and where they want to go, is a big thing. Now they got money outside of the running back. So they're not going to have to they can probably end up getting 3 guys with the difference, depending on where they're going and how they're going to do it and who they're going to get. But that's a 3-guy get based upon the difference of that contract after the restructure, as far as what they can do to improve the team so they can move a little bit further into the playoffs or even, in fact, make the playoffs. And then, of course, you have to deal about whether or not the guy is going to get hurt or not. So that's the biggest question in reality. Now, the simple fact of the matter is that when you got to keep in mind that the signing bonuses are actually paid to the player in the year that they are received. So that being said, therefore cutting Chubb means that he would be making no money in 2024 in reality, and the teams would surely be hesitant to sign him without guaranteed money. So going to another team without that guaranteed money and how much that they would suck up in order to get him is going to be the big question. But now instead, what does Cleveland do? They'll say, we'll pay you $2.5 million guaranteed in new money on top of what you're really in reality getting, and it'll be guaranteed despite your injury at 1.2. I think it's 1.1 or 1.2, somewhere in between there, is the new base salary for the minimum for veterans So then you have the other 925,000 as a signing bonus. He's still getting his money because it's a restructure in reality. So Chubb's original $4 million hit will stand, plus the base salary, but the new portion of the signing bonus saves them $9.5 million against that cap. So it's a big thing for Cleveland and Browns fans. First of all, you get your guy back. Second of all, you hope he's healthy after the injury. That's always going to be the next question is, can he stay healthy and actually produce for the Browns moving into the next portion of the season? So that is one of the things that you got to look out for as far as the Browns are concerned. Good thing, bad thing, I don't know. Nick Chubb, though, in reality, the salary cap hit is only 6.5. I mean, so, and he's still going to pull, his 14 to 16 million, depending on who you believe as far as his contract is concerned. So, having Nick Chubb, first of all, he's 28 years old. So he's getting close to that other side of the 30 that you don't necessarily want to be. I don't know, good, bad, indifferent, how people see it, where Nick Chubb can be later on. Hopefully, they get into a position where they'll go, well, look, we got Nick Chubb back. Listen, Nick Chubb 3, 2, well, actually, let's go back. 4 years, 3 years, and 2 years ago, I'm telling you right now, the most solid running back in the NFL outside of Derrick Henry. Never mind the fact they had the 1-2 punch with Chubb and Hunt. So you got all those things that you look at as far as Nick Chubb is concerned, but it's really where they're going to be as a football team. Now, one of the things I did not get the opportunity to talk to, the Podfather about is listen, by the way, I'm Jason Kelce. I'm a big fan of, love him. I love him. He says, but if he was an NFL GM, I'd side LeBron today. And within one season, he'd be the greatest red zone threat in the NFL. I'm just going to say, and I love Jason Kelce with all my heart. I think this guy is awesome. But I think this is a guy that has been taking too many shots to the head. And I'll just say
I'm smarter than that son.
Just think I am. There's no way that I want a LeBron James because he is about as weak as he possibly can be in the NBA. Imagine him in the NFL. Well, so that being said, there were a lot of talks about, what the logo should look like. This is what it would look like with LeBron James on the logo for the NBA. So I'm just saying, LeBron James, not a fan of it. And I know for a fact that one Bryce, I don't necessarily know if he's actually a fan, but he doesn't like to bash on him as much as I would be more than happy to do so. And by the way, talks about NBA players going to the NFL, and I think J.J. Watt said it best. You don't got the job in either right now. Go ahead and try it. He's basically saying, yeah, let's see if you want to go ahead, find those 30 players, see if they can withstand a season in the NFL compared to the easy schedule, even though it's more games in reality, but the less physical portion of the game of the NFL. And J.J. Watts, listen, I'm not necessarily a J.J. Watts fan, but I fully agree with him. Now, information about my Jacksonville Jaguars. What did they do? They lost their number 2. This is a loss, okay? Sometimes you need these guys to be the guys that can step up and maybe be the opportunity to be a step up number 2. Zay Jones had that opportunity. However, the NFL or the Jacksonville Jaguars in their grand scheme of thing, thinking that, yes, we might need to get rid of the guy. They decide to let Zay Jones go. He goes over to Arizona. And I'm going to just tell you right now, I'm not happy about it at all. And bringing back in Cuervo. Good to see you, my friend. This is a loss for my Jacksonville Jaguars. You can say whatever you want about where they are, what the standing is. Zay Jones, I think this actually hurts his possibilities of being a better NFL quarterback because of who the quarterbacks are. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, and I'm not a Trevor Lawrence, complete fan, but I do in fact think he's better than Kyler Murray. Good move, bad move on the Jaguars moving Zay Jones over to the Arizona Cardinals.
Sonny, I mean, I just don't think there was a spot for him anymore, a role, because you guys drafted Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU
Yes,
in the first round. I think he's going to be a stud for you guys.
I think he is too.
Anytime the words LSU and wide receiver go together, it's a good thing. So
That's a good point.
yeah, so that is one thing they do well, is they produce wide receivers from that
Yes.
school. So I just don't think there was room for Zay Jones anymore, Sonny. It was a cap casualty. It was a
That's what it
role
was.
casualty, and so with that being said, I think it was the right thing to do to let him move on and go somewhere where he can play a bigger role in an offense. And I mean, Arizona, we know they're hurting for receivers. So
Big time. Well, the Jaguars instead make the move afterwards. We talk LSU. They remain with that LSU guy. They're trying to bring Jarvis Landry back and using it as as a tryout in reality. And remember, Jarvis Landry was an LSU guy. He's made his way around the NFL. He has some talent. Their Jaguars are going to try to bring him into the fold and see what they can do with him. I love Jarvis Landry. I always did. I always thought the injuries, that's taken away from the guy getting the opportunity to be the star, or maybe even being a solid number two. In reality, injuries in the teams that he played on definitely played a role in that.
yeah, they did. And the thing about Jarvis is, yeah, he's a solid player, son. He's a good
God's solid.
receiver. Can't really say he's below average in any part of his game. But I think what teams like about him, and you saw it in Cleveland when Odell came over, Jarvis, his character, he stands out from in the wide receiver room. He provides that veteran leadership that you look for. A guy that not necessarily sets the example, but he keeps guys in line. He's the accountability guy. He's the guy that when somebody messes up, he's going to be the first one to call you out on it. So I think it's a good thing to have those type of guys in the room. And I think that's a big part of why Jacksonville decided to at least try him out. Bringing in a rookie LSU guy. Hey, I'm going to show you the ropes. This kind of like what my journey was after leaving LSU. And, it could serve a really good purpose.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe they can get a number 3 out of the guy if he can actually,
And that's
produce
the
out on the
bonus.
football field. Yeah, exactly. and with having the experience and everything, obviously coming off the injury is going to be the biggest portion on whether or not Landry is going to be a significant role up on the Jaguars and whether or not, how much playing time he'll end up getting. But when you have a Jarvis Landry on your football team, 100% healthy, you got to get that guy in the lineup. And I think that's another thing as far as the Jacksonville Jaguars are concerned. Like you said, giving the opportunity to teach another guy coming out of LSU the ropes based into the NFL. And then also maybe with the understanding of what Peterson's all about, because listen, these two evidently know each other. I didn't necessarily know it, but they know each other from past, experiences and things of that sort. So, you get a lot of combinations on what's going to happen here.
Well, I mean, you think about it. It's an alumni thing. I mean, they all
Yep.
know of each other, or they know each other. They've crossed paths at some point. It's a brotherhood. I mean, when it comes to schools like LSU, where you got a lot of history there, and a lot of guys that go to the NFL that either have already succeeded or they're succeeding now. So it's a big brotherhood when it comes to schools like that, where they take care of their own, and that's what they're taught.
Yeah, definitely. And the Jaguars need something. I wouldn't mind having that punch from Jarvis Landry. In fact, I like him better than even the rookie. And granted, I know where the rookie's potential can be, but to start the NFL season, I'd rather have a Jarvis Landry in there and then have him fill the roles of maybe the third to fourth wide receiver when someone's hurt or needs a breather, and then they get the opportunity to move forward into it. I think it's big. So.
Now, here's the question, Sonny. What has Tom McManus said anything about this move?
I have not. I've been so busy. I have not heard his 2 shows this week. Well, that's what I plan to do for the rest of the day. I'm gonna listen to his 2 shows on Tuesday and Thursday. And we'll find out Tuesday and Fridays. We'll find out what his take up on it. Listen. Tom McManus is not an idiot. He knows the value of what a Jarvis Landry probably can bring. So, but I'll be interested to see what his input is and his in-depth on how much he'll go with what he thinks about Jarvis Landry is more than what I want to hear from him regarding that. So you're right. Now that being said, of course, we got a situation with you as far as your Chicago Bears, because
the Bears are who we thought they were.
And I don't know. But you got the kiss of death on your team, and I'm sorry this happened so early. With Caleb Williams, joining the club. But here it is. This just spoiled the whole thing. There's no way it can happen because Skip Bayless, says he may, and that being Caleb Williams, may be the first rookie quarterback who makes his team an instant Super Bowl contender. That coming from this guy's Skip Bayless's mouth, Cuervo, cannot make you feel good about what the future holds, because this guy has been consistently wrong for the last 6 years of his career. When he starts talking about somebody, whether it's Caleb Williams or anybody else, in reality, you can't feel good. I don't think you can feel good about this, Cuervo. This might hurt you.
Well, listen, it hurts, Sonny. If that quote is even real, let's
it is real, by the way. I actually did research it, and he did actually say that. So just want to, sometimes I grab up a meme that might not be fully everything that was said, but he did say it.
Yeah, and sometimes we can sniff out the real from the fake ones, and then there's ones where you're kind of like, God, it sounds real, but is it real?
You gotta go look it up.
What do you like to say? The things that make you go, But yeah, look, if it is real, you say you verified that it's real. So
it is real.
Look, I think that's a lot of expectation to put on a rookie. I don't care how generational you think he is and whatnot. That's a lot to put on a rookie quarterback that hasn't even taken a snap in the NFL yet. All these preseason, not even preseason, but off season. I've seen quarterback rankings already coming out. And
I have too, and I decide not to look at them because they're so unrealistic, especially when it comes to rookies.
When I'm scrolling around social media and it's staring me right in the face, I can't pretend like I didn't see it. So, some of them have Caleb already in the top half of the quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to QB rankings, and I'm like, what are we doing? Look, and again, it goes back to the casual meatballs that are like, yeah, see, I told you Caleb was going to be a stud, and that
the one time they get it out of 100, it becomes real.
Well, look, I can't.
But they named him the starter. They named him the starter, but then again, look who they got there. So they officially named Caleb Williams the starter for week
that really
number 1
breaking
of the
news,
NFL.
though?
That was
Is that breaking news?
I know. If you didn't know that, you're definitely in a cave somewhere. I mean, in reality. So you think about. What the Bears are.
Sonny, I actually heard they really like Austin Reed from Western Kentucky that they signed as an undrafted free agent, and they're considering making him the starter. Like, what are we talking about? God. But it's funny because it became this huge headline, breaking news. the Chicago Bears make major decision, like, what they bring Lovie Smith back?
Wait,
on the team, like,
and somebody gets paid to say that? I mean, come on. Can't I be that guy to say it to make that money? I mean, jeez, if anybody didn't know.
If they click on your article, then they get paid. If it's all clickbait, Sonny. It's clickbait nonsense.
Clickbait, yeah. So Caleb Wilson, Tyson Bagent, Brett Rippon,
Tyson Bagent, Rippon,
and then the Austin Reed.
Reed.
Out of listen, I know Brett Rippon's got some NFL experience, but if you didn't know that Caleb Williams was going to be the starter for the Chicago Bears, you shouldn't even be allowed to talk football. I mean, that's how bad of a understanding of football that you have. So, interestingly enough, so
exactly. You should not be behind the mic. You shouldn't be behind a mic. You shouldn't be talking football. None of that stuff. You just stay away.
Where are you headed now?
Let the experts like you and I.
Oh, he froze. Oh man, I have to hit this button right here because whenever there is a pause, it always gets you with the worst look ever. And I feel bad. Feel bad for Cuervo. Maybe he'll get back in. So he is actually out and about, headed out. I think. And there it goes. I don't know if he's going to be able to get back in. There he is. Hey, there you are, Cuervo. You there?
I'm here, Sonny. I'm here.
There we go. That being said, where are you headed?
I'm going to pick up flowers for my wife for Mother's Day.
What time she get home?
She just hit the road from Vegas, so she won't be home till about 1:30 our time.
How many hours does it take to drive from where you're at to Las Vegas?
Roughly 4 to 5, depending on traffic, depending on if you're a Sunday driver. So about 4 to 5 hours.
Wow. I mean, why didn't she fly, man? You should have put her on a plane. Good Lord.
The way she sees it is it takes the same amount of time anyways, and you have your vehicle, so.
Okay. So it's more, so I like what you were saying about, the women talking about their divorces and stuff. That's a crack up. By the way, I wanted to let you know that, man, I feel bad for you. And the reason being is because whenever, the screen freezes up, you get faces like this.
Oh God.
That's what we saw on the freeze. I feel so bad. But that cracks me up. I'm sorry. I just had to show you because every time it happens, it always catches you. You can't be when you're looking really good and then it freezes. It's got to be the worst case scenario for you. So,
Compliments to you for catching those moments.
Hey, someone's got to do it. I got the talent. I got the speed to do it. So that's good. So now, hey, I just wanted to let you go because we're up on the top of the hour. LeBron James, by the way, have you seen LeBron James? It's a new logo because he's the new wave of, the NBA, and they wanted to give him a new logo. Here's the logos that are out there for LeBron James. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's accurate. I could tell you.
I was gonna say, it's accurate. It's definitely accurate as far as that is concerned. Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I thought that was a crack up as far as where the NBA is. And before I let you also go, take a look at this. I don't know if you can see it. And this is Austin Rivers. And folks that don't know Austin Rivers, he's an NBA player. He says he can take 30 NBA players right now and throw them in NFL uniform. You can't. and you cannot take 30 NFL players and put them in the NBA, and then one J.J. Watts with classic lines that says, "You don't got a job in either right now, so go ahead and try it." In other words, let's see if you can actually make it with yourself or 30 other players that could come in and play in the NBA. If anything, it's the other way around. And this became a big thing of what people were talking about. Cuervo, it was nuts.
Yeah, I think that's comical. It's like, football players play basketball for recreation. You don't see basketball players going out and playing football for recreation, right?
It's a good
And
point.
I'm talking full pads.
Yep.
I'm talking full pads, helmets and all that stuff. Like, yeah, that's apples to oranges, dude. There's no
Yep.
way you can actually sit there and try to and that's not, but let's be, that's all new rule changes and all
Okay.
that. It's still a lot less physical.
Yes, a lot less physical. Last thing that I was looking at, these are teams longer championship droughts than the Dallas Cowboys. And, I didn't necessarily know that San Francisco was longer than the Dallas Cowboys. That was the one that stood out on this list. Everybody else, not really. But San Francisco, I did not realize they were on that much of a drought in reality when you're talking about, a championship. And so 28 years.
So that doesn't count, though. It's 1 year, okay? It's 1 year difference. The 49ers won the Super Bowl in 1994, and the Cowboys won it in 95.
Right.
Come on.
I know. I
don't
know,
count
but
that.
you don't.
If you're a Cowboy fan, you cannot talk crap on the 49ers for their Super Bowl drought. It's a 1 year difference.
1 year difference, and they have as many rings too.
At least the 49ers have, and at least the Niners have made it back a couple times.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good point too. Made it back. So
right, three times that I can think of.
Yeah.
Blasphemy! The blasphemy!
But
it is
anyway,
blasphemy. It's blasphemy.
So craziness there. So always good to see you, my friend. I wish we could have got a little bit more time, buddy. But yeah, man, you needed your beauty sleep. Babe, you're working on a beard. Are you going to be Santa too? Is that...
No, I'm probably going to trim it down again because it is starting to get warm out. So
drives you nuts. Yeah, believe me, I understand that. I had the same thing. It's just driving me nuts.
You still have yours.
Well, hey, my beard's going to be really good for Santa this year, and I'm going to make a lot more money being Santa this year. So, no, the reason why this is here is because it's a money maker. That's all that is. I don't have anything else on my body that's a money maker besides that beard. So there you go.
Well, hey, look, you don't know that. There could be, there's a market out there, I'm sure.
Well, I'm going to have a market there. I'm doing a marketing thing with Mint Mobile here. I'm working on it right now. And Mint Mobile being the sponsor, we got two more weeks with Mint Mobile, and then we're going to see what can end up happening with Mint Mobile, and hopefully they can be a regular sponsor, especially thinking about our high school football coverage as well. Never mind our show weekly here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Get the word out about Mint Mobile 15. By the way, I went through my first month of Mint Mobile, by the way, and had zero problems. Not one, not two, not zero problems with my switch. Now, granted, I don't live on the phone like most people do, but that's the only thing that matters to me is it works when I want it to work. So there you go. So, kind of one of those things. So check it out. Mint Mobile, $15. We appreciate their sponsorship. I'll let you know a little bit more about what we're going to be doing as far as the Santa portion of it. So we'll do all that. So anything that you wanted to cover before we got out of here?
Oof. Yeah, nothing. I mean, I know. I don't know how much you guys got into, like, rookie mini camps are going on in the NFL right now. So I don't know if you have had a chance to take a look at what the Jaguars got going on. Obviously, I caught a little bit of what the Bears minicamp has looked like, and I mean it's all positive, because they're in t-shirt and shorts, but um, you can see the change in the overall culture down there, over in Chicago, when it comes to the Bears. So all these old adages of they don't know how to build a franchise, and they don't know how to develop quarterbacks. And look, I don't know for sure, Sonny, but I've got a good feeling that those days are behind us now. And I think the Bears are doing it right. For once, they're finally doing it right.
Then the question would be, how long does your new general manager have with Caleb Williams experiment? 1, 2, how many years is he going to get in order to get that figured out?
I'd say at a minimum, 2 years.
Oh, I
Minimum.
I was at 3. I was at 3.
Yeah, he'll most likely get 3. He may even get throughout his rookie contract to decide whether, boy, were we wrong, or they hit a home run. And well, obviously Ryan Poles wouldn't be going anywhere if that's the case.
Did you see the video about the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers and the firing of him? Did you see the video that has been going around where he's talking about LeBron James?
Yes, and I thought it was funny.
Well, take a listen.
I guess it's my fault that this roster sucks ass. Oh, wait, no. GM LeBron traded all our good role players to get Russell Westbrook, only to use him as a scapegoat. He never takes responsibility. He's a big baby. If he put half the effort he used arguing with the officials into defense, maybe Aaron Gordon wouldn't have looked like prime Shaq. And then there's AD, who's apparently allergic to fourth quarter points. D'Lo, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura are about as consistent as my shits after Taco Bell. But no, it's all my fault. I swear Laker fans and bronzexuals have such low IQ.
The consistency of my shits after eating a Taco Bell might be one of my all-time favorite quotes coming from anybody in reality. That was great. And the bronzexuals, by the way, I think is great. That's great too.
Oh, that's been a saying for a while now, but
I must have missed it.
Oh no, it's been going around for years. But I tell you what, that's why I don't eat Taco Bell that often. I don't eat it that often. Maybe once a month, because the cleanup after that, it's not good, son. It's not good.
Well, hey, all I'm going to say is the chicken Chipotle burritos you can get through, because I consistently stop and get those. So and that's about the only thing I'll eat from there. So there you go.
So then
Chicken
you're
Chipotle.
saying it's pretty consistent then.
For me, I haven't had that inconsistency problem that one person, what a great line. Again, one of the walking out the door. You want to talk about a guy who knew he was out the door. That's a great way to fly out the way. I love it. It was one of the moments. It was one of those moments. No.
Yeah, it was some good editing, I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah. It was perfect. So, all right, my man. You be safe out on the road since you're out doing that, and good luck finding that flowers and taking care of your young lady. So she's going to be in about 2:00 your time, I imagine. So, or 3. So.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it all depends on traffic, but I mean, I'm going to pick them up. I don't have to go and pick something.
You already got it done, smart man. The less thinking you do, the better for everybody. Is that what it is? That's my motto. I mean,
yeah, because my brain, it's fried. It's already fried from all the school I've been doing, and yeah.
Yeah, you almost done with that?
So I should be, by the end of the year, I should definitely be done with my associates.
Very good. Good luck in that, and rock that role, and I'm glad everything, and so, and we are. I'm going to try to see if I can put this together, the Couch Potatoes Sports Show Roundtable with our regulars, yourself, if we can get Bill Cerna, Butch Wesson. I would love to be able to get Bryce out there to set up on the panel. That'd be great, and Podfather as well. Hey man, with the flights being $35 for me, I can do it. It's whether or not anybody else can do it. You just drive over, probably. Well, you might fly, depending on how lazy you are. I mean, I'd fly. If I were you, I'd fly. But then again, I'd fly to the grocery store if I could. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll probably talk to the wife and tell her, like, one of these times when we go to Vegas, yeah, okay, fine, it's the same. Let's just try it, see how
Right.
we like it.
Yeah.
Let's just fly out there, see how we like it.
Yeah,
So,
I was thinking middle of July is when I wanted to go, but it's so friggin' hot. But then at the same time, yeah, it's like, but as far as where we would do what we would do, we wouldn't do it outside. We'd obviously do it inside. So, at a where I want to do the show is, I don't know if they'd let us do it. I want to do it in front of the $1 million display over at Binion's. That's where I want to do it. So let's see what ends up happening, because they got a lot of open space over in that area, at least as far as I saw when I was there last. So, but yeah, definitely want to get back out there. We definitely want to get back out there, Fremont Street. I also think that
Yeah.
I might want to go out there for the wrestling, not to go to the show, but to see the Nuts on Fremont on WrestleMania week. That's where I think I definitely want to do that too. So that's April of next year. So maybe 2 more trips here in the next year to get over to Vegas, just to have some fun and make some noise and make a goof of yourself. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and in April it's not like blazing hot.
Yeah.
So,
So definitely.
Just
So keep that in
tolerable.
mind. And
That's for
and
sure.
we'll also, and I'm also going to see what I can do, working with Mint Mobile, and see if that can end up working out. So we're working on some things for a lot of fun. Here, just to go have a good time and see what can end up. I know you're up for a weekend trip to Vegas any weekend, so I don't think that's much of a problem.
Yep. Anytime.
You got it.
Anytime, son.
All right, my man. Be safe out on the road. Always good to see you. Folks, catch us next week. Hey, by the way, you
Likewise.
don't know about Cuervo? It is the next week. It starts. Yep, I'm doing it. I'm paying off the
Uh-oh.
bet starting next week. I got the stuff. That was really good. I was hoping to get it
Okay.
before I could get it done today. For today's show, but they rerouted it, and it's not going to get here in time. So I'm going to start next week on it. So get ready for that. We're ready to rock and roll. So
you got to come out with Hendrix.
Huh?
Like the NWO song was cool, but you got to come out with the Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah. Well, that is Jimi Hendrix.
The Voodoo Child.
Yeah.
The Voodoo Child.
Yeah, that exactly. That I'm going to have
Oh,
that
I
come
thought
up.
you were doing the NWO song. I thought you were doing the NWO song.
Isn't that Jimi Hendrix? Isn't that Jimi Hendrix? Who is that?
No. I don't know, somebody that composed that music. No. Jimi Hendrix, Voodoo Child. That's the one that Hogan would come out when he was by himself.
Okay. All right.
Go back and watch, Sonny. I still remember.
Well, again, now you got me wondering, because I thought that was Child. Hold on, let's find out. I can check it really quick. Voodoo Child, Hendrix, and hit the search. Let me see what that says. Oh, sure, I get a stupid. Oh yes. See, but they put it all together though, Cuervo. Yes, actually, that's You're right, Cuervo. That's the one to come out to. I don't know if you could hear it, but I was like, could you hear it?
Not really.
No. Oh, okay.
Not
So,
really.
but yeah, that's the one I meant. That's the one I'm going to come out to. So, but
Awesome.
they're both put together, when they were doing all that stuff. But yeah. So I'll do that, get that all set, and we'll start that next week for 4 straight weeks here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. You get to see me as the bald white Hulk Hogan. That will be really, really bad, by the way. This is not going to be pretty, but I'm going to do it anyway. So we'll be doing that next week. Cuervo, have a great week. Be safe out on the road. Say Happy Mother's Day to your wife for me, my friend.
I will, Sonny, and practice your Hogan voice. All right.
Yes, definitely,
and,
brother. Definitely, brother.
and tell your wife Happy Mother's Day as well, and that she's gonna get through the day.
She is. She's it, and that is why she's asleep while we do the show. So yeah, definitely. All right, so we'll do that. We'll catch you all next week here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. For Cuervo, for the Podfather, I'm Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. We're out here, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.